before I start moving this on. I was with Tommy in Spain last week, making sure he was exercising and keeping his head straight and eating his greens. So we have spoken length as to what he wants today. Now we all know that he doesn't want to be in a cell right now. We know he wants to be here. Of course he does. But I also know that he doesn't want anybody to feel sad because he made the decision to air the documentary, and he done it with pride and kahunas. But what he will also want is for everybody to play the game today and do it right. And when we leave at the end of a beautiful day we've got lined up, and it really is glorious, it's going to be full of love and good energy, because we're still going to have a good time, yes? And then when we disperse, we got to do it in mind that there are going to be people that are envious of us, because we are all together as one. And they will try and prod you and provoke you, and they want a reaction from you. Don't give them what they want. Do not let the mainstream media report lies or one little misdemeanor tomorrow, so all this goes to waste. Look how fucking lovely this is! I'm going to be back and forth. If you can be kind to me, I'll try and be kind to you. But no pressure. But Tommy did ask me, if I end up in jail, will you step in and host the event? So I am here as a friend to Tommy, to the team, the country, and every single one of you. And thank you for such a nice reception. I now want to hand you over to a personal friend of mine and yours, Mr. Paul Thorpe, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, how do I follow that? How do I even start? I've been stitched up. Guys, first of all, thank you so much for coming today. And as Liam said, it is a celebration, although tinged with sadness. When I was growing up, I was taught at school about the greatest leader that this country was ever blessed to have, Winston Churchill, God rest his soul. That generation was lucky to have a leader like Winston Churchill. But today we are also blessed. This generation is also blessed to have a man that stands tall, that stands proud and stands to the British people. And his name's not Winston Churchill, his name is Tommy Robinson. And make no mistake, never be in doubt, doesn't matter what anyone says, you can go home tonight, put your head in a pillow and rest assured that you have been here today for the right reasons. Never let anyone sway you from that. And our job is now to awaken our friends, our families, our neighbours. And I want to finish by paying a tribute to Peter Lynch, who would have been here today if it hadn't have been for a horrendous sentence that this beautiful man, this soul, this grandfather did not deserve. And I want you to join me now in a minute's applause, not only for our Tommy, but for our Peter Lynch. God rest his soul, God bless him. Peter and your family, we are here for you. Stay safe, everyone, and as Liam said, don't give them any reason to doubt us.
Thank you, Paul. You're an absolute gentleman. I'm sure everybody here will agree. And it's now nice that we got the party started, because, as I said before, we're here for a good time today. So when Tommy's sitting in his cell, he knows none of this went to waste. Now let me introduce the next speaker. Andrew Bridgen, it's all yours, brother.
Thank you. Remember the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason and plot.
I see no reason why gunpowder and treason should ever be forgot. There's going to be a big event of world significance on the 5th of November in America. This will affect the whole world, and I ask you to pray for the right result. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud of you all. I'm proud to be here, but we're all saddened at those who are missing. And our prayers and thoughts should be with Tommy Robinson and the family and friends of Peter Lynch. Their suffering is a demonstration of the tyranny that we're living under at the moment. We know that Tommy's not a terrorist, and we know that Peter was never a rioter. They can take 1,000 of us, and 10,000 will stand up to take their place. And you've got to all take comfort that the worse things appear to get, the nearer we are to the end. We're in a dark tunnel, but we're nearer to the light than we are to the beginning, and we must press forward together. The worldwide attack on freedom and liberty we've seen over the last few years cannot succeed because too many people around the world have woken up. We see what you do, and we will not let it happen. In life, we tend to get what we're willing to tolerate. Well, the world, the good people, the freedom-loving people, will tolerate this no longer. I've often been asked why I wear a paperclip on my lapel. Well, 2 years ago I spoke at a conference in Norway, and in Norway they call them binders. They bind people together. And they told me they invented the paperclip just before the Second World War. And during the Nazi occupation of Norway, the Norwegians wore the paperclip as a sign of resistance to occupation. It was punishable by summary execution by firing squad, but still the brave Norwegians resisted. They said they had no one in Norway to speak in their parliament, and would I wear the binder when I spoke in our parliament and speak for them as well? The paperclip is a sign of opposing international oppression, and I'm proud to wear it for you and for the Norwegians. All the freedom-loving people of the world are watching us today. They're expecting us to take a lead. As has already been said, we must be peaceful. There's a rival protest, and they've got a right to protest as well. What it demonstrates to me is the failings of our schools and our universities, because it's clear to me that our schools and our universities are not teaching our young people to think. They're telling them what to think, and that is very damaging. The main weapon that our oppressors use against us is fear. And once we learn to live without fear, there's nothing they can do to them. There's nothing they can do to Tommy, and sadly there's nothing now they can do to Peter. We have to live without fear. People think that we have no power, we're just individuals, we're just drops in the ocean. But we're not. We're all linked, we're all connected. We are all the ocean in a drop. Enjoy the day and have a great time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, when we look at the mainstream media, they do their damnedest to divide us, put us in a state of submission by fear, and they don't tell the truth. They try their best to divide us and take a little look around. Do we feel divided today? Yeah, do we bollocks? Have a little look. Now, talking of media, the new media, the real, honest media that tells you exactly what's going on without prejudice, the opposite side to the lying BBC, Sky News, Mr. Mayor Toosey. Come on!
Apparently this flag is a taboo. It's a sin to hold it here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget, we're here for the kingdom. We're also joined by patriots from around the world. We've got all the usual flags, the American flags, the Israelis, we also have the French flag. Even the bloody Welsh are here. The Iranian flags. But we're here, not just for the United Kingdom. We think about Peter Lynch, Rhiannon Sky White, a hotel worker who lost her life yesterday after an attack by illegal migrants of Sudan. We think of Tommy Robinson in jail right now. We think about the 3 little innocent girls in Southport who lost their lives. Now, the building right behind me, down the street, and the one over there, the House of Parliament, they think we're far-right anarchists. Just because we criticise the system. We criticise the system because we want it to be better. I am going to talk about the political side, but the fact that they are scared of you guys are far-right, unless they are scared and terrified of far-right grandmothers, and all the families and children, and again people coming from France and Canada and Australia. My mother apparently is also a far-right thug. She was saved by the British Embassy from Iran. She was an actual political refugee. She came here to give me a fresh chance in life. To what end? I now have to have private security because I get death threats. For doing my job, for doing the job that the BBC should be doing, for simply reporting the news. Now, this wasn't what my mom actually wanted. I would be safer in Gaza than in London at this point. Now, I have a message to the political establishment, the mainstream political parties. First one, Reform UK. Our friends at Reform, this crowd is not what you think it is. You misunderstood them. Look around, bring your representatives, talk to the crowd here. Don't be scared. These people, a lot of them voted for you. My message to the Tories, people are here protesting against Keir Starmer, but let's not forget, this crowd was not created by the Labour government. This was happening under the Tories. You created this. It's your fault. Finally, what is my message to the Labour government? Nothing positive. The only message is actually to you guys when it comes to the Labour government. Get ready. Campaign. Fight. Don't give up. Unite the right. Unite the kingdom. Stop the division. Fight. 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 Final message to all the other patriots who come here to support the British public, the Americans, the Israelis, the French. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. We will support you in your fight in your countries. Nationalists and patriots, it's time to unite. We've been too isolated. We've been left each other alone. It's time to support each other. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, the next man, I'm going to refer to him as a man, despite the fact he's 13 years of age. He's just about to get up on stage and speak in front of you lovely people, and there's lots of you. If you can see what I'm seeing, the crowds go back and back and back, and we have a young, up-and-coming politician that gets stiff at school, labelled, stigma, far right, the usual tripe. It would be nice actually to get up here because he can see that there's nothing far right about this crowd. The only thing that's just right. So please give this young man a massive, massive cheer, a round of applause. I don't know anybody his age that will come and do this.
down at Downing Street, Keir Starmer protects his own, not you. Keir Starmer has blood on his hands. We stand here united. He killed Peter Lynch. This government did. Now, I ask you all as one to join us in the fight for freedom, to bring our country back. Great Britain, make it truly great. Now, I can see a UKIP flag. UKIP are the real party. The party for the people, not Reform UK. Fake party. Fake, fake, fake. They kicked me out because I stood with Tommy. Because I stood with Tommy. Are you all hearing this? The party for the patriots. Tommy's the biggest patriot we've ever got. So, I ask you all, at the next election, you vote for UKIP, you join UKIP. Right, I'm going to start finishing off now, but thank you. And remember, keep doing your country proud.
You are a living legend. Oh man, Johnny Stephen, come on! Unbelievable! Wow! Respect to you, brother. Give me a picture. Give me a picture. Yeah, well, you know what? Credit where credit's due. Credit where credit is due. Go on, let's have a Tommy. Oh, Tommy, Tommy! Tommy, 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 Tommy Robinson! Oh, Tommy, Tommy! Tommy, 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 Tommy Robinson! One more! Oh, Tommy, Tommy! Tommy, 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 Tommy Robinson! He's gonna love this when he finds out how swell this is going. Just to compound on Charlie Simpson, what he said and what he just done there, and giving people credit where it's due. This is what we need more of. Giving people credit when they're due, building each other up, being each other's brother and sister and friend, and encouraging each other to do the right thing all the time. Now I'm going to pass you over to Lutz and Vicky. To forgive me, I've been parachuted in to do this. And then, from Lutz and Vicky, we are going to get Richard Inman on straight after, and then he is going to show you Tommy's documentary. So I'll be back in a little while. Until then, have a glorious time! Come on. All the way from Germany, might I add.
Hello UK, I'm Vicky. I'm living now in the US because I'm not allowed to be in Germany anymore because I'm fighting for freedom of speech. I expose the hypocrites in Germany, the politics, and today we are all here for Tommy because he's a political prisoner, for showing the world what's really going on in all over Europe, because this is not only happening in the UK, it's everywhere. It's in Brazil. I'm doing a documentary for Urban Scoop about what's going on in Brazil, and we have to stand together. Today is a very important day for the whole world. You make a sign, you stand up, and the world has to watch you, has to follow you in the fight for freedom of speech for our children. Because our children have a right to live in freedom and have a right to grow up in a country to be proud of. You have to be proud to be British. I have a right to be proud to be German. They can't take that away from us. Don't let them take that away from us. And today we are all Peter Lynch and Free Tommy. I wanted you put in every post on Twitter, Free Tommy, hashtag Free Tommy. Float the internet with this hashtag, that the world sees what's going on, because mainstream media doesn't want that to be seen. And we don't care anymore. We are the people. We are fighting for our rights. Thank you.
Hello, Great Britain.
My name is Lutz. I'm the founder of the Pegida movement in Germany, and I met Tommy 10 years ago, and since then we became friends, and we're actually going the same way. I'm facing the same charges. I'm still free. I'm the lucky one, but I'm facing the next one in a couple of months, so I'm not sure that I'm going to join you that soon again. But we have to stand together everywhere, all the patriots all over the world. We have to go our way, we have to fight for the freedom of speech. Tommy's been charged for it, I'm charged with it. So that's why. Support Tommy and support every people's movement in this world which is going to fight for the freedom of speech, which is a people's right. This is the most important thing. If they take away that from us, we are at the end. That's it from me, and free Tommy. Let's call it again as Liam did before. Oh, Tommy, Tommy! Tommy, 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 Tommy Robinson. Thanks. Thank you, London. Thank you, Great Britain.
And fight, fight, fight!
One more thing that we're all going to have to play a little part in. Charlie Healy from X Factor is due to be singing on stage, and he's in the crowd and he's struggling to get through, which is a great thing because it shows how many people have turned up, but we need to figure out a way of getting him through, you lot. So Charlie, if you can hear me, just tap whoever's in front of you on the shoulder and say, I'm Charlie Healy. So if somebody taps you on the shoulder saying they're Charlie Healy, get him to the stage, the man's got to sing. And now over to Mr. Richard Inman, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, what Liam just said there reminded me of an old film called Spartacus. So we don't want everyone coming to the platform saying, I'm Charlie Healy. We only want the real Charlie Healy. But if you remember that film, Spartacus, what was the catchphrase from Spartacus? I am Spartacus. Every single one of you in this crowd today, I want to hear your voices saying, I am Tommy Robinson. I am Tommy Robinson. And there's another hero, and he's not here today. And he won't be at any more demonstrations, and we've seen the videos of him. One of us, just an ordinary man, a grandfather just like I am, a father just like I am, and a patriot just like I am. Peter Lynch should be here today, and he's not. Let's have a massive cheer for Peter Lynch. And before I forget what we're going to do when the film's on, we're going to pass buckets round the audience, and we're going to do a collection for Peter Lynch's family, and we're going to do a collection for Tommy Robinson's children. If I didn't say it now, I would have forgotten. But we're here. We're here because we're at a very pivotal moment in our country. And I believe every single one of us is not just a Peter Lynch and a Tommy Robinson. Every single person in this crowd is a British hero. You are all British heroes. And you know, many times we come here and we talk about the problems and we talk about what's wrong, and you're going to see a film in a minute that goes into great detail about that. But I want to say something. Every single person in this crowd is not a problem. You are the solution, and you're the people that are going to take our country back. And my message to Keir Starmer, the person who hates grandfathers. What do we think of Keir Starmer? What do we think
This film talks about the heroes, the political prisoners that have been locked up for nothing. Our judicial system has been weaponized by evil people in that house behind you. It's got to change. It's got to change. This film is going to tell the story of Peter Lynch. It's going to tell the story of Tommy Robinson. But it's going to tell the story of the hundreds of other people whose lives and families have been destroyed by those corrupt people in that house behind you. And before we start the film, I want everyone in this crowd, I want us to observe a 1 minute silence. So I'm going to ask you, when I stop talking, when I shut my big mouth in about 30 seconds, I want a hush to go over this crowd. And I'm going to ask Liam if you could time me to make sure we get 1 minute. When I stop talking, I want this entire crowd to go silent for the hero of our age, Peter Lynch.
Blue. There goes one up.
Grandfather and father of four was sentenced to 2 years, 8 months in prison. His so-called crime? Raising his voice and holding the banner in defence of what he believed. Branded a far-right thug by the media and Keir Starmer, Peter was thrown into a brutal prison system among violent criminals. But the real justice, he paid that ultimate price, alone, isolated from family he cherished. Peter took his own life in a cold, unforgiving cell. His voice may have been silenced, but his sacrifice will echo through history. May he rest in peace. It's September 2024. There's been trouble on our streets. The government and legacy media tell us one thing, social media and citizen journalists tell us something else. What we do know is the British people are angry. What's ignited this anger? What is going on? And are we seeing lawfare waged on the British people with a whole new level of intensity? Runnymede, England, to make this film. Why Runnymede? Because it's where King John was made to sign the Magna Carta over 800 years ago. The Magna Carta is a document designed to shackle the power of tyrants. A document that makes it clear that everyone, including the king, who was the authority in the land at the time, is subject to the law. And the law is to be applied without fear or favour. A document that has inspired freedom-loving people around the world. A document to protect freeborn English men and women from the abuse at the hands of tyrants. How fast and how far our nation's fallen. Now, we looked at the architecture of a totalitarian state in Lawfare, the film we launched on the 1st of June this year. Two-tier policing, a politicised judiciary, a controlled media, and dissenting voices being crushed. These are just some of the pieces that the Conservatives put in place, working hard to build their utopian totalitarian state. New legislation, arrest for hurtful words, thought crime debanked, fired. This has all been the case for a few years now. And digital programmable money, mass surveillance, social credit scores, 15-minute cities, pay per mile to drive. Yes, the ULEZ infrastructure is already in place for that. Centrally controlled food supply. All these things will follow soon. More tax, less freedom, and prison for anyone who objects. But right now, we have a new Labour government, and we could not have imagined how quickly and vigorously these new totalitarians, these morally bankrupt communists, evil one-term Labour government will step up and implement their reforms. We explained previously how totalitarians use all the institutions of the state to create a facade of fairness, due process, and a democracy. It's all a facade. Well, in fact, they seek to destroy the very fabric of our society with their so-called progressive ideologies. Progressive ideologies that care not a bit for the oppressed, but use social justice as a veil for their hatred of the status quo. These totalitarians create division and chaos as a pretext to usher in their totalitarian utopia. Division and chaos, they both serve their purpose. And they create phantoms, imaginary foes. They turn the Gulf War against these imaginary demons. Why do they do this? Well, they have no power if they're scrutinised and exposed for what they are. They have no power if the people unite against them. And they are driven by three emotions. Three emotions lie at the heart of every totalitarian regime. The Keir Starmer's regime is no different. They're driven by lust, fear, and loathing. They're driven by lust, a lust for power. They will say and do anything to get it. They will say and do anything to keep it. This includes line tossing. We won't take away the winter fuel allowance. We won't raise taxes. They get elected, they take away the winter fuel allowance from thousands and thousands of pensioners on as little as £30,000 a year.
But how can you justify it to viewers who feel like it is an attack on some people who've worked hard all their lives? They're not wealthy, they don't have money to spare, and this year, if it's cold, they're going to be looking at the thermostat and wondering if they can pay their bills.
According to Labour's recent count, they've had to do this to stop the economy.
That is a bare-faced lie. Just £1.5 billion was saved, while £21 billion was voluntarily spent on public sector pay rises and foreign climate aid. When Ed Miliband excitedly promises to decarbonise the grid by 2030, again, he's been completely dishonest. And the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Darren Jones, innocently leaked some time ago, the true cost is going to be hundreds of billions of pounds with an almost impossible transformation of infrastructure.
There's a report, of course, commissioned by the Labour Party back in 2017, which forecast that thousands of pensioners could die, could literally freeze to death because of this change.
If we have the money, billions every year, to look after people who are given nothing to this country, why do we not have 1.2 billion to give money to people who have contributed to the system and who are now vulnerable and at the end of their lives, they're going into that chapter of their life?
They removed the energy price cap and prices jumped by 10% for everyone. And if you've worked hard all your life, look out, because they're coming for your savings and your pensions. And don't forget, while he's robbing you, 3D Kia, he's had to declare more than £100,000 of freebies and gifts, more than any other MP in our country. And they say they've just found a £22 billion black hole in the nation's finances.
We have found a £22 billion black hole. And that's what this is. all about, making sure we fix the foundations, and then having done that we can build a better future that pensioners and so many other people voted for in this election.
But they knew about the state of finances long before the elections. They just forgot to mention their plans. And when asked to spell out the details of the claimed black hole, they refuse. They're not telling. They won't. The dog ain't my homework. Ridiculous. They're not hiding the political choices they made. They're actually proud of them. They can't use your taxes. Remember, our taxes, that's whose tax it is, it's yours. They can't use them to help freezing pensioners this winter. But they can choose to send $3 billion a year of your tax to Ukraine to drag us towards war with Russia, instead of pursuing peace. They choose to send $6.4 billion a year of your taxes to support asylum and illegal migration. That's according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies. That's up 50% from last year and 6 times higher than in 2018. What's it going to look like next year or the year after? That's right, $6.4 billion in support of unilateral cultural suicide.
Angela Rayner has announced that she's abandoning plans to give British people, in brackets, who have paid their stamp or taxes, close brackets, priority council housing. We're going to allow migrants to get out. If you thought that wasn't bad enough, I'd love your response to this, because this sent me today quite literally over the edge. If you're a terrorist and you wanted to get social housing, you were going to be banned under Labour's manifesto. That's been reversed as well today. So what we're saying then is we're going to allow millions of people to come into this country and take away homes or whatever from British people who need them. And that is not racist to make that comment. That is an absolute proven fact.
It is a proven fact, and that, amongst other reasons, is why people from all those deprived communities across the United Kingdom have been protesting against immigration for the last few weeks.
They choose to give away $8 billion of your taxes on climate aid. That's giving money to other countries to help them for their so-called climate challenges. $8 billion of your money, but can't keep pensioners warm. They choose to spend trillions, yes, trillions of your taxes to pursue their own net zero wet dream, exporting our carbon emissions to China and India as we commit unilateral industrial disarmament and drive millions and millions into fuel poverty. Don't take my word for it. This is a co-founder of Greenpeace on climate change.
I say not only is carbon dioxide good, it is essential, and it's a good thing that we are putting some more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because it was running low before we came along. If we had definitive proof that CO2 was causing serious problems and we could prove it, don't you think they would write that down on a piece of paper somewhere so people could read it? They don't have definitive proof, period. I am firmly of the belief that the future will show that this whole hysteria over climate change was a complete fabrication.
And lastly, they'll smash those gangs that are transporting illegal migrants into the UK, costing us $6.4 billion a year.
Round up, detain and deport illegal immigrants. That's what new Home Secretary Yvette Cooper has just promised to do. Well, do you believe the woman who held up a sign saying refugees welcome, closed the Bibi Stockholm and scrapped Rwanda on day one?
Do you believe it? Also driven by fear. They fear their loyalty to the World Economic Forum and its globalist and totalitarian agenda being exposed and revealed.
You have to choose now between Davos or Westminster.
Davos.
Why?
Because Westminster is too constrained.
They fear their incompetence and failures being exposed. Immigration policy, energy policy, foreign policy, every policy is a failure. They fear losing power. And they fear Islam. They're bewildered. They cower and submit to the demands of Islam out of fear of what might happen if they don't.
Well, assalamu alaikum. My name is Phil Hutchinson and I am the Superintendent for British Manchester Police based in Oldham.
Salam alaikum. I'm speaking to you today because I want to reinforce my commitment to protect every member of our Merseyside community.
Of course, cowering in the face of Sharia-loving fanatics does not placate them. It emboldens and mourns. Our government's appeal is like feeding the crocodile and hoping it will eat them last. I think Churchill said that.
and hiding things, covering things up. That doesn't solve our nation's problems. It's obvious to most of us by now, covering things up lets the problems grow and grow and grow. They've done that for the last 40 years with Pakistani rape gangs for the sake of community cohesion. And they're doing it now with mass migration and the Islamisation of the United Kingdom. But lying to cover things up doesn't create community cohesion. It does the absolute opposite. It stokes anger in British people.
There was no growth in our economy in July, and yet we continually get pumped with mass migration. I'm just going to pose this question. If migration makes us richer, why aren't we getting poorer? Our politicians can't just lie to us and hope we don't kick off. If the truth is so bad that we might protest if we knew about it, then maybe they should do something about the problem, instead of covering it up.
And the population know they're being ignored. And worse than being ignored, they're being condemned. This time by Prime Minister. How on earth did he end up with this job? Anyone who thinks mass immigration might not be such a great idea. Well, Tutik here, he's branded all of you as far-right thugs and Nazis. Prejudged you as criminals, and his stormtroopers will come and arrest you shortly. The third emotion driving our so-called leaders is loathing. They don't believe in the nation state. They believe in open borders and cheap labour for global corporations. Their loyalties lie with the World Economic Forum. Tutik here has made that pretty clear already. They loathe our nation and its people. The obstacles to their globalist totalitarian utopia. They don't want to be challenged. They are terrified of scrutiny. They don't want their lies exposed, and they certainly don't want to listen to you, the British people.
Everybody's lives matter. Black lives matter. Trans lives matter. Refugees' lives matter. Except old people's lives don't seem to matter. Why on earth are they choosing this as their first hill to die on?
Will our so-called leaders ever recognise the legitimate concerns and grievances of the British people? Do our so-called leaders actually want to solve the problems, or do they want to use the problems? Problems they created, by the way, to take more power and take away more of your freedoms. You see, these Marxists weren't elected because British people wanted to be governed by Marxists. They were only elected because of the Tories spent 14 years failing everyone. They failed the British people, failing to be remotely conservative, failing to lower taxes, failing to control our borders, failing to protect our freedoms. And now in power, these Marxists want a state of perpetual chaos and division that they create, divide and rule. There must be an enemy. There must be a reason to take action against these enemies of the state, and that action will always take away your freedom.
There's been a knife attack on a property in Hart Street. There are reports of it involving children, and I can now confirm that some of the patients have been taken to Alder Hey Children's Hospital, so that would suggest that those reports have indeed been accurate.
Here in the UK, 2 children have been killed in what police called a ferocious stabbing at a dance class in Southport in the northwest of England.
How many more children have died on our streets rather than that? 1%, come on, lead it. How many more children? Fight next. Make a real change, Prime Minister. Make a real change! Come on, children! Go away!
So what actually happened in Southport? A man of Rwandan descent murdered 3 beautiful girls and stabbed 8 more children and 2 more adults. How did the government react? What did the machinery of the totalitarian state do? Well, you and I would hope something like this would get the government to stop and reflect for a minute. Why have these girls been murdered? Why is there so much knife crime? Why is there so much rape? Why are these so-called asylum seekers flocking to our shores? And what values and cultures do they bring with them? Are their values compatible with ours? Are all cultures of equal merit? You and I would hope the government would ask why the peasants, as us, you and me, why are the peasants revolting? No, don't be ridiculous. Reflecting is not a popular pastime of communists and tyrants. Admitting they're wrong is not a key competence of these tyrants. Apologising for destroying our nation, it's not going to happen. What this government actually did, well, firstly, they did everything they possibly could to cover up the basic facts, what you and I will call the truth.
They said immediately it wasn't terrorism. How can they possibly know immediately the motive, that it wasn't terrorism? How can they know that? And how can stabbing young girls at a Taylor Swift dance studio not be terrorism? They said he was from Cardiff. Axel Ruddock Yabana.
Oh, fly here.
Yes. He's as Welsh as the daffodils. They looked for evidence he was mentally ill.
Not without there.
I can help with that.
Not without there.
Yeah, he was mentally ill. Anyone who commits a crime like that is mentally ill. But exactly what kind of mental illness? And they published a picture of him, looking like an innocent little 12-year-old, and reported he was a choir boy. They made him the victim. They did all this because they don't want us knowing the truth. They manage the information.
Misinformation is dangerous. Social media is good.
Here will
It's
be
also bad
Hyde
when people
Park
use
and
it
booking
in a
the
way
area, I
that
think.
could cause a riot, threats, intimidation. I think the government are really going to think long and hard about what they're going to do with social media and what are they going to put through Parliament as a bill to act. Misinformation is dangerous, and no misinformation or threats or intimidation should be allowed to be carried out on social media platforms.
That's their words. How absurd, how foolish, and how dangerous. And Keir, how is this working for you, managing the information? Do the government really believe their actions will help build a peaceful, prosperous and patriotic society? What about a cohesive society? Or are they so short-sighted, so hungry for power, and so disdainful of the British people that they will use anything, no matter how awful, how tragic, they will use anything as an opportunity to implement their totalitarian agenda and crush anyone who speaks out against them? As we've said, these Marxists want a state of perpetual chaos. There must be an enemy to mobilise the population against, an enemy to divert attention away from the government's agendas and their favours.
You said the riot showed there was a societal black hole. What did you mean by that?
What I meant by that was that the riots, I think, were symbolic of a broken society. They were far right in the main, but underneath that, I think there was a societal black hole, a breaking of our society, which we need to mend. I'm convinced that the answer to it is delivery and government. So the best argument against the far right, best argument against the easy answer, is to deliver, to bring about the change that we promised we'd bring about.
That's right. Two-tier Keir seems to acknowledge there are troubles. He says the solution is delivering in government, which suggests the cause of the problem is failure in government. Well, I agree, Comrade Keir. And he says the far right, whoever they are, is the snake oil of easy answers. I think it'd be more accurate to say the use of the term far right to label concerned British citizens is the snake oil of lazy government. And any anger which he labels far right is a consequence of failure in government. You can't blame the Tories forever, Comrade Keir. And listen to this.
It doesn't matter what apparent motivation there is. This is violence. It is not protest. It doesn't matter what the motivation is.
That's right. He doesn't care what happened. He doesn't care. Okay? But it gives him the excuse to crush the dissent that terrifies him. The dissent of the average British man and woman. And by the way, we still haven't been told anything about the motivation of the Southport killer. What could it possibly have been?
Good honest men are going to jail for saying that integration failed. So do you think that we're really free if we're not allowed to say what we see? Starmer's a tyrant, but we won't be silent, 'cause he threatens his people. Starmer is evil, but we won't be silent, 'cause he threatens his people. Starmer is evil.
Now, once they tried very hard to manage the news about these murders in Southport, and they'd lied and patronised the entire British people in the process, what what Two Take Here and his cabal of apparatchiks did next is truly chilling.
You know, everyone was angry because of what had happened. So those 3 little girls, the whole world was angry. My husband was then saying, you know, the government keep letting them come in to our borders. You know, kids are getting raped, filmed, what followed, things like that. You know, they're taking all our NHS, they're getting rehomed. You know, everyone coming in is just being given everything, and then things like this are happening in our country.
So what is it exactly that your husband has been accused of?
On the Saturday after Southport, he just put a status up saying the Daresbury Next, which is a hotel close to where we live, which have got immigrants and asylum seekers in there, who were getting rehomed. So he went inciting that he's going there to do anything. He was just saying, with all what's going on, that's the next place that will most probably happen. People will start rioting and stuff. But he didn't put that. He just put, it's going to be the Daresbury Next. Then people commented underneath his post, and he just put, it's the government's fault if they stop letting them in the borders, all this wouldn't be happening.
Okay, so he was being vocal on the immigration issue?
Yeah, he went there for his daughter and for his little sister to stand up and say, like, enough's enough.
With Jack being a father himself, he's a first-time dad to a little girl. He felt it, like, it touched him emotionally, what was going on.
When he was there, he was waving his flag. He didn't say anything racist. He wasn't shouting abuse. He wasn't swearing.
There's actually numerous videos of the police telling Jack he has to put his flag down. He's not allowed to hold his country's flag. Jack's saying to the police, listen, I'm not here for no violence. I haven't came for violence. I came for a peaceful protest.
The reason why he was arrested was because the police blockade, or whatever they call it, where they all have the shields, they ran and pushed his mum over, Julie, his mum, she's 68-year-old, they pushed her over, trampled over her, she was on the floor, they trampled over her. Police seen this and then obviously tried to get through the police to get to his mum, who were on the floor. They were whacking him with a shield, sprayed him with CS gas, and he was saying, look, my mum's on the floor, I just need to get to my mum. When he was being, after he just got arrested, when he was being held around the back of the Bluebell, the police officers were saying, but I don't even know why you're being arrested, because his mum were there as well, obviously, all the face was bruised. They could see that she'd been injured, badly injured. I don't know if he was a sergeant or just a normal police officer. He was saying, I'll ring the inspector and see if he can let you go, because I don't think it's serious enough to be arrested. Like he said, if it were mine would have been the exact same.
Obviously we went home and we thought everything was fine, because obviously Jack didn't do nothing violent at all, and then that's when exactly a week later the police had knocked on the door, and then that's when he got arrested.
So they started putting my door through. My little girl was screaming in the guards. Screaming in the guards, and so my neighbour took her away. So I asked them to stop putting my door down, and asked them what were you from, and they wouldn't tell me, and I said, have you got a warrant? And they said, we don't need to give you one. And they said, my back door's open and my back gate, you can go down it, stop putting my door through. So at that point when he stopped, Chris was coming out with the police, and then they went in and raided my whole house, looking for his phone and took the kids' iPads and stuff.
No, your little girl's still there.
She'd been taken to my neighbours, but she was just crying her eyes out.
How long exactly did he get?
He got 5 years. A year taken off, and he took into consideration his health and his mental health, and then they gave him 32 months.
He was sentenced to 3 years, 4 months, and also a 10-year criminal behaviour order.
You're not going to see your partner lay now for 3 years, 4 months, you know, how do you think you're going to cope with that?
I'm absolutely gutted.
It's broke a family up, like it's daughter, if he's a first-time dad or a little girl, like he's got Christmas coming up, the first one where she understands things, he's going to miss out on our first Christmas, he's missing out on our second birthday, like...
She's just like a little child, she's usually a big little girl, she's just not as helpful, she's not the same little girl, she just she sits and just stares into space.
So if the most recent atrocity in Southport, and regardless of the murderer's motivation in this particular case, it was the last straw. People were angry, not surprisingly, not just about the Southport murderers, but about years of having their legitimate concerns about mass immigration being completely ignored. They're angry about two-tier policing and politicised judiciaries. But Labour cannot afford to have pesky voters asking questions about the consequences of open borders, mass immigration, and the incompatibility of some ideologies with our culture. So they create a different story. They turn everyone's attention to their imaginary monster, the far right, the fictional dragon they pretend to slay.
There's a lot of people that are branded, people like Lee, as a far-right racist, so is that true?
No, definitely not.
While there have been women who's never been racist.
It's horrible. They just put lies on it.
It's absolutely ridiculous, just everything that they've written. It's like, there's actually an article about Jack that calls him far-right as well, and obviously when I spoke to Jack and made him aware that he's not happy, like he's kicking off saying on the phone, he's saying I'm not, but he kind of just put me down as something that I haven't actually complied with. I haven't said that I am this type of person.
The last thing you would be is racist. And like every person, I think you should have loyalty to your country. And if there's something wrong with your country, why can't you speak about it?
And more fanciful than that, they blamed the English Defence League.
Missiles were thrown at riot officers and a police van was set on fire by a large crowd of protesters believed to be supporters of the English Defence League.
We don't know where they streamed in from. They're believed to be supporters of the English Defence League.
How many people work in White? There's over 50,000 apparatchiks working in the Home Office alone. And no one told Tutia Kia that the EDL disbanded a decade ago. It hasn't been here for a decade. No one in MI5 reminded him that, 90% of the people that they're watching on the terror watch list, they follow Islam.
I am worried about the rise of the far right. I mean, we can see what's happening in Germany with the recent elections, see what's happening in France and other countries. And I'm worried about the far right because it's the sort of snake oil of the easy answer.
I utterly condemn the far-right thuggery we've seen this weekend. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery. And it has no place on our streets.
Mindless minority of thugs who thought that they could get away with causing chaos.
But this deception is not without consequence to us.
The following will not be televised.
Apologies for the language you're hearing, but I said...
I assume people in it and they assume that they were EDL, apparently, I'm not sure. And that's why they all ran.
Kia, you brought violent Muslim militias out on the streets. You lied to them. You created this facade of this far-right English Defence League roaming the streets. But at least people can see that there's a militia there waiting now.
He has caused this divide between everyone. He has labelled us ADL, far-right, racists, but I think people are angry, and it's all down to Keir Starmer because he hasn't addressed why people are angry, why people are taken to the streets with such anger. I mean, these poor lassies with someone's babies, and I think that's why people are thinking it could have happened to our kids.
And anyone who is even remotely concerned about mass immigration and its impact on our way of life, will channel in Naz Shart's retweet, you'd all better shut up for the sake of diversity. Of course, the media clapped along with all this. They know there's no far right. They also know there's no EDL. Or maybe they're talking about those thugs who gathered in Trafalgar Square on July the 27th. And without them even realising, the headlines and the news were all focused on the imaginary monster, the imaginary far right. And everyone had stopped talking about the slaughter of innocent kids. It hasn't been mentioned again. It was totally forgotten. It was a successful government ploy. For me personally, they're working to blame me for the trouble on the streets.
Well, what we've heard, Julie, from a lot of the far-right figures is that these protests that we've been seeing over the last week are not about extremists, they're about ordinary people just having their say. Here's an example, and it's not the only one, from the man known as Tommy Robinson.
And probably the most influential instigator of all is Tommy Robinson.
For this to be hijacked by people lying on sunbeds in Cyprus.
It's been coordinated by a man. He was just fled England.
The English Defence League, give me their phone number, give me their email. I mean, the fellow who's associated with most is on some bed in Cyprus. He hates Europe, but there he is enjoying the European sunshine and stirring up poison and hate in this country.
There's no truth in that. Bring the case against me. Bring the evidence. The evidence shows the total opposite. Not once did I call for violence, ever. I ask people not to be violent. Lads, you've got to remain calm. Look at our events in London. Totally peaceful, totally calm. Didn't matter. We were under attack by the media and politicians, by all of them. As far-right, racist, hooligans, all these things. I total appeal for calm. Try to remain calm. Just an appeal for calm, man. Bring the numbers. Bring the noise.
Is that yours?
Don't bring any violence, man. Any movement coming. Galvanise the country. That's what we need to do. Unite people. Now, yeah, the level of violence, it won't work. Anyway, stay safe. Stop the violence, man. And to the men committing the violence, lads, those individual police officers who are coming out doing a difficult enough job have got families at home. They're ordinary people, okay? A peaceful revolution is brewing in Great Britain. A peaceful revolution. Now, why are the British public angry? I want to pause and take a moment to answer that question. I want to take a moment to help Keir in his cabal of apparatchiks. Because he seems to know there are troubles. He admits there's troubles on our streets. But I fear he may have misdiagnosed the cause.
Well, it was publicised as being a protest against the lack of government action to deal with the increasing amount of stabbings and knife crime across the country, but in particular against the awful, atrocious, horrific, brutal murder of the 3 primary school age girls in Southport in their playgroup, which, like I think so many other people, I was incredibly upset and distraught about that. And I went there in that spirit. Intending to attend, and did attend, a peaceful protest. Quarter to 8 in the evening. The police, the riot police, decided to just charge on the crowd. There was absolutely no forewarning there was no announcement by the police, like on a megaphone or anything like that, to say, can you clear the area, can you move, because we're going to start arresting people. They didn't do that, they just started arresting people completely out of the blue, suddenly, without any notice whatsoever. And I turned round and I saw a police officer arresting someone. And then the police officer came towards me and arrested me. And I was handcuffed. I was handcuffed behind my back.
So you were arrested for standing in the street?
Basically, yeah. Oh, absolutely, that was it. That was why I was arrested. And I did nothing, didn't resist arrest.
Yeah, this is arresting people for no reason.
I think this has been going on for a long time, with escalating themselves over rampant knife crime, stabbings, and violence by some of the migrants and asylum seekers that is not being covered by the press at all because it doesn't fit their narrative. Censorship, fear and intimidation is the tactics of a dictatorship. It's the same as any dictatorial regime in the world. If you look at Venezuela, what's been happening there, the way they control their population, they send people to prison because of their political beliefs. This government isn't acting any differently from that. It may not be as extreme, as that, but they're certainly headed in that direction.
We already know people are angry about the authorities covering up years and years of child rape gangs, mainly Pakistani Muslims. They're angry about two-tier policing. They're angry about politicised judges. They are angry when they see the police cowering before Islam. Let's have a look at what else is going on.
Some of them, they must kill me. It's like they wanted to be raped. She also claims she normal
like
crying.
She's enjoying it, you know, even though she isn't, but it's like she's enjoying it.
What about the consequences of what you're doing in terms of how that affects the person that's raped?
Yeah, the consequences, we look at that all the time, you know, because it happens, she might scream, you know, people might wake up. A lot of people.
I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about the emotional effect, the physical effect it has on
we might rape her and wake up tomorrow with viruses ourselves, like HIV, you know.
What about regretting what you've done to the girl?
I also do regret about it, because if she fell pregnant, what will be that baby's father? Who will be that baby's father?
But what about her personal feelings?
That's right, all over the country, unchecked migrants are raping and killing. And more unchecked migrants arrive every single day. Maybe this is the reason people are angry. Let's have a look at the rape statistics for the UK. Yeah, we're the rape capital of Europe. There might be a reason people are angry. Wasting money, killing pensioners.
Some breaking news from our end, actually. Channel migrant arrivals surged by 43%. That's from our Home and Security Editor, Mark White. That's after 442 small boats crossed the channel yesterday on Easter Sunday. That now brings the total for this year of 5,435 channel crossings since the beginning of the year. That's well in excess of the 3,790 odd who had crossed the channel by small boat at this point in 2023.
We're getting daily updates of the numbers during the COVID pandemic. And actually, that's an astonishing amount. Over 440 votes from yesterday. The weather's calmer, the weather's a little bit calmer. This is only an increase over summer.
We're 1.7 million. That's the combined population of Glasgow, Cardiff and Nottingham. There are 1.7 million who are unemployed. They're not even looking for work. They're costing you and I, the taxpayer, £8.5 billion a year. That's the equivalent to a week of fuel allowance of £708 per year, every pension in this country. That might be a reason to try. Paedophile migrants. What about this?
You have been talking very rapidly to some 13-year-old. How long have you been doing? 2 months. Did you say that? Do you want some more dick? Yeah, do you want to? You're asking other people to send them pictures of themselves.
You just sent a video of a child for sentencing 13 years of age loss. You sent pictures of your penis. Yes? No me. Not you. No me. I don't know. Of your phone. You speak English. Do you not speak English? Yeah. How long do you speak of culture? They come to the I think 3 months. 3 months? You will be
Do you think it's okay to say that you want to eat and kiss a child's mother? Do you? You want to get a child to your house, a 14-year-old girl you want to rape and abuse.
You'd think they'd be on their best behaviour, but they're busy online grooming young children to rape within weeks or days of being in our country.
Kids were getting filmed by them from the residents that live in the Daresbury. Family members had rang the police and stuff. The police had come, they'd move them on, wouldn't take the phones or anything off them. People were getting followed from the Aldi by the illegal immigrants that are supposedly living in the Daresbury Hotel. Or they're saying that there's no men or anything in that hotel, it's just all women and children.
Okay. Have you ever seen any men?
Yeah, but the whole of our area know that there's men in there.
There's for many years been a lot of complaints about the hotel, about the immigrants that are staying there, the crime rate. There's also been reports that children as young as 12, 13 and 14 have been getting followed and harassed. What do you think to that?
I was talking to a couple of ladies there who were telling me that a daughter had been exposed, that one were having a pee in bush around the lake and it was showing his bits to a 6-year-old daughter. She reported it, nothing got done about it. Another lady who I was speaking to, her daughter actually worked in the hotel and they used to follow her home every night.
That would be a reason people are angry. And you get locked up for tweets. If you object to any of this and speak out online in anger or with humour.
I was upstairs doing some work up in the attic's loft space up in the house, and I had a massive bang. This was about an hour later. A massive bang, and I was like, what's that? So I started coming down the staircase from the loft, and another big bang. That was in the door flew open, and all these police came walking up the stairs with the taser out. Yeah, they'd used one of them big battering ram things, absolutely destroyed the door. And they came running up the stairs, one with a taser out, hands behind your back, blah blah blah. And so I went with them. As I walked outside, there was about 8 or 9 coppers. They were everywhere. The warrant was for inciting racial hate on social media. But I actually thought I'd walk into court and get laughed at, and I would come back. I'd be back out of court. I spoke to the duty solicitor, and then he told me, you are guilty though, Lee. You're guilty of sharing these pictures on your social media, so you are guilty. So I advise you to plead guilty to what they're saying to you in court today. I'm like, but I haven't done anything, there's no crime. And he's like, you're guilty of sharing these pictures.
So get straight, you said 4 weeks in prison for sharing 3 memes.
Yeah, that weren't even illegal. I hadn't even broke the law. It turns out now that I haven't even broke the law. I had a good job, good woman.
Do you think you'll ever get a good job like that back?
No, definitely not. No, I've got this on my record now, haven't I? I'll be lucky if I even get clearance and get my vetting back for the job that I did do.
The government is imprisoning people for their tweets. That might be another reason people are angry.
Our prisons are on the point of collapse. So today, a new announcement that come September, thousands of prisoners can leave jail earlier than they would have otherwise.
Well, they can't lock up these angry tweeters because the prisons are full. So they have to release thousands of prisoners early. That might be a reason people are angry. And he's made space in the jail. Not enough space for the BBC's latest paedophile superstar, Hugh Edwards. Busy buying photos of children as young as 7 being raped. Doesn't spend a minute in jail. The judge was concerned about what might happen to him on the inside. He should be. But no such concern shown for the right-thinking people of Britain tweeting their disgust at successive governments' failures. Every time knows once you have created your imaginary enemy, you need to instill fear in those in the population who are gullible enough to trust you. The number of people who still trust you and your government, Keir, is falling very fast.
Sir Keir Starmer's approval rating has plummeted to its lowest level on record amid a growing cronyism scandal. The new poll shows almost 2/3 of voters think the government is more interested in serving its own interests than those of ordinary people.
What people trust us, mate? I know he's watching it, which is great. And so, in collusion with far-left activists like Nick Lowles of Hope Not Hate and its cabal of Labour politicians, Hope Not Hate. It's a good name, Hope Not Hate. But they appear to me to be driven by hate, not hope. But in collusion with them and the legacy media, the story is pushed that 100 riots are planned across the country. It's all a lie.
And this was one of the potential protest sites for the far right on that list that was circulated on Telegram.
Of course it was a lie. There was no riots planned. 100 demonstrations weren't even planned. Nick Lowell thought it was clever and the lie was funny. The government knew it was a lie. Hope Not Hate knew it was a lie. The papers knew it was a lie. But they didn't stop to consider whether it might be. But the lie was not without consequence.
Idis nagle sabidos.
I'm sure the police will be all over those machete-wielding thugs.
I mean, they didn't put the others that came out with machetes, knives, masked up. What happened to them? They're not in the paper addressed as racist thugs. It's just they portray us to be bad people.
And Lowell's tweeted about this. See, that wasn't true. That stirred up racial hatred.
We were born here, we are Muslims, we will stand here, we will fight against EDL, we will fight our ground. Our innocent Muslim sisters against acid attack must get taken, but everyone should be here. Fuck the EDL!
The top tier of Labour MPs and support resigned after that tweet. But Hope Not Hate is still a Labour-controlled disinformation unit. By the way, Mark Rowley, if you're still in the police when this film goes out, when are you going to arrest Conrad Lowell for spreading false rumours and inciting racial hatred? So Lowell doesn't get arrested for his lies, but Bernadette Spovroff, a Cheshire businesswoman who sent an erroneous tweet about the Southport murder, she was arrested. She was held over there. Then not released, and she was bailed pending further inquiries, which have since been cleared.
I express my views on the state of the country and its failure to protect its citizens, and that is still legal. But it's very clear that a vocal part of our society wants the opinions of ordinary people like you and like me suppressed. They say they support free speech, but they mean only the speech they agree with. They say they support dialogue, but only the dialogue that agrees with their worldview. And they say they want equality, but they don't mean for people who think differently to them.
Now, we've had nearly a year of violent anti-Semitic hate marches on the streets of Britain. The legacy media describes them as largely peaceful. Citizen journalist footage suggests that's a lie.
The only solution is jihad by the armies of the Muslim country.
Listen carefully to what this guy here in the middle of the video says in a moment. Did you hear that? We are ready to kill you all, is what the man said. Let's have a listen to the rest of it. Take a look at how the police respond. The police stand there and do absolutely nothing.
You are racist, all of you. That's racist. Take your hand. Don't do that. Don't do that for me. You want nothing to do with all of you. What's the fight today, guys?
marches were largely peaceful, just like this was a largely peaceful social services call-in in Leeds. That's the police running away from Romani gypsies and Pakistani rioters in Hare Hills, Leeds, after a social services call turned violent. The Hamas marches were largely peaceful, just like this was a largely peaceful chat between armed police at Manchester Airport and a largely peaceful Muslim family. By the way, these men, they were released without charge when a baying mob of Muslims turned up at Rochdale Police Station demanding their release.
Immediately, every one of them officers needs to be arrested immediately. If not, then we will go to Plan B and you will see big protests, I promise you. Protests like you've never seen before.
The Muslims demanded the police are suspended. And guess what? They were. The police suspended. And the cowering police are now focused on finding the person who leaked the CCTV footage. Total insanity. Have the Islamic thugs who battered the police on camera, have they been charged yet? No, they haven't. And yeah, the Hamas marches were largely peaceful, just like the Notting Hill Carnival was largely peaceful. Here's the Legacy Media's headline on that one.
Last hour, they've given us an update that they've made 38 arrests and recovered 4 knives. And they said a man believed to be in his 20s has been stabbed. His injuries are not life-threatening. But overall, it's been a really peaceful and enjoyable day.
So, no swift justice for the Hamas riots, for the Leeds riots, the Manchester Airport folks, or Nick Knowles. I wonder why. And no swift justice for the killers of Notting Hill Carnival. That was just a cultural celebration, of course. So we know the police treat different groups differently. No credible commentator would dispute it.
In 2020, we had Black Lives Matter protests during COVID. During COVID lockdowns. Sir Keir Starmer, now our Prime Minister, rushed to take the knee to express his solidarity with Black Lives Matter after they'd already injured 30 police officers during their protests, after they'd broken the law with the COVID lockdowns. And Keir Starmer rushed to take the knee. He said, there are legitimate grievances here. This is about racial injustice, because rioting, on the left, remember, is the voice of the unheard. This time around, the same Keir Starmer, despite us seeing videos on social media of Muslim gangs beating up white British kids on the street, walking around with knives and machetes, this time around Keir Starmer said, this is all far right, this is not legitimate, it's criminality, get these people into prison as quickly as possible. There was no discussion of legitimate grievances, there was no discussion of legitimate protests.
And now Two-Tier Keir appears to have ordered the stormtroopers to grab and arrest anyone, literally anyone, who protests or tweets against the government and what it's doing. Obviously, except for Hamas-loving protesters, anti-Semites, members of the Muslim militia. None of them.
This is the moment police raid the home of a mother and a son suspected of violent disorder in Middlesbrough.
If you're involved in disorder on that day, we will identify you, we will arrest you, and we will put you before the court.
National figures show 1,165 people arrested, 703 charged. Those figures, again, will increase.
Have the police made any high-quality videos of them arresting Muslims carrying machetes in the streets? Or men fighting with knives and machetes in our parks? Or a single grooming gang that raped children? No, they haven't. They save their high-quality videos for people saying mean words on Twitter.
We do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification of it.
That the UK actually has a massive force of police officers scouring the internet for any repost, retweet, or original content that could theoretically incite whatever the government deems to be racial hatred. And if you engage with or repost that content, you are deemed so dangerous dangerous for society, that they will arrest and prosecute you.
So this is another man being sentenced to prison for a Facebook post that he made. And in this video, the judge tells you what he posted and how long he's getting in prison. And I'll let you make your own mind up. Have a look at this.
You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority. Given the life of Riley, off the tax us hard-working people earn when it could be put to better use. Come over here with no work visa, no trade to their name, and sit down and DOS. And then there's more people being put out homeless each year. They get top band priority on housing and many more reasons. This offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. The sentence that I pass has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea. The sentence is one of 20 months imprisonment.
Every tyrant knows you can't run a totalitarian state unless the judges do what you tell them to. In Russia, North Korea, they're awarded DACAs, second homes in the countryside. In England, you get honours for doing what you're told. Honours.
Let's be very clear. This has not been about protests. This has been about violence and thuggery.
Bewildered Yvette, tough on crime, tough on imaginary crime. Her message to the judges was clear. People who tweet dissent, they're criminals. That's what she said, judged before any trial. And those judges have been busy.
You have brought shame on yourself and the town of which you are a resident. You must be punished for what you did. The only mitigation, as I have indicated, is your guilty plea. Accordingly, the sentence is reduced to one of 2 years and 8 months imprisonment. I appreciate that will fall hard upon you as a senior citizen.
Most of these cases that I've been reading about, for example, the case of this poor man, David Stringer, 61-year-old, who's been working as a train driver for 42 years, who's now taking care of his sick wife, who has been sentenced to jail because they wanted to make a sacrificial lamb out of him. They wanted to set an example to the rest of the UK, and that message was very clear. That message was, you don't get to disagree with us. You don't get to be present at these protests, because David Stringer did absolutely nothing. And we have video footage of that. He was there. He, according to the reports, maybe shouted something at the police. Well, boo-hoo. Is that worth 18 months in jail? A mother of 5 being sent to 26 months in jail because she threw a can at the police? Is that proportionate? A man online who committed the crime of, according to the government, inciting racial hatred because he posted one post on Facebook? Is that proportionate?
That's right. Bang. You're inside serving years. And let's take another look at some of the judges who sent people to jail for hurting words. That's right, rape, steal and stab. Let's just put it down to cultural differences. It's community service for you, lad. Fence painting, picking up litter for a few hours. So tell me how our judiciary are not politicised, how they're not compromised and a tool of the state. And to the judges, I hope you get the honours you've been promised, lads. Tin pot, despot, Kia. Your political judiciary might be another reason people are angry.
This isn't just two-tier policing. This is a two-tier political and social system that is routinely prioritising racial, sexual and gender minorities at the expense of the majority.
Now, every tyrant knows the media is tyrant's best friend. Well, the media that does what you want them to, they're your friends. Everyone else, they need to be shut down. It's definitely
I would prefer the conventional media is more powerful, but the social media, it's, ridiculous. It's got different aspects of the politics of what people are each other, but the politics is still the game.
That's right. They call it misinformation. You and I, we call it the truth. And the legacy media, they've been a cheerleader for mass migration agendas of successive governments. They've continually supported their open border policies. Just look at this.
والله الشعور بس شهر كان استجد حسيت انه لو كنت بسوريا كان احسن صراحه انه ظلم وظلم وحبس شهر.
That's right. The people held up to us by the media as shining examples. They don't turn out to be rapists as well. War, migrant rapists. But in the interest of balance, were the legacy media unlucky to choose migrants as poster boys who turned out to be rapists? No, they weren't lucky. The British aren't stupid. We all know people affected by these rapes. The unchecked illegal migrants you are actively ferrying into our once green peasant land. They're raping our daughters. They're killing, they're murdering.
So tell me about university. How did that start? you been at university before the attack happened?
2 months.
So not long?
Yeah, new city, new lifestyle.
Okay.
I'd first met this man, or seen this man, way back in the city centre.
Okay.
He'd followed me for a very long time before the attack.
Okay, so he'd followed you for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened?
So he just kind of grabbed me on the street and just kind of pulled me into the churchyard.
So he pulled you into the church?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Then he kind of pushed me against, it was like a concrete block.
Okay.
And then just kind of pulled down my underwear.
I suppose it's every parent's worst nightmare. She's very innocent, very trusting, and I was told that I just needed to step back as a dad. You want to take control, and you want to get in there and fix all the problems. But on this occasion, I had to step back and trust the police.
And how long was it before you got to trial?
It was 6 months, exactly 6 months from the day he was remanded.
And did you go in and give evidence?
I did.
That must have been difficult. How was that?
It was difficult. It was especially difficult because I had my final exams for uni on the same week.
Wow.
University. My exams for university were over a 2-week period, and it fell in the same week as the trial. So I was in and out of the exam hall and in and out of the courtroom at the same time.
When the court case was going on, I booked all the time off. My intention was to go there for every day of the case, but I was pretty much told do not come by the police and the barrister due to the severity of it. My daughter closed down, didn't want any help. She was going to deal with this herself. It was very tough on her. She had lots of breakdowns. We had to drive up to where she was many times, 2, 3 in the morning to help her.
So tell me about the rapists, where we're living.
So this is what really gets to me, is he was staying in a hotel, and it's not far from Student Village. Now,
so he was living very close by to the university?
Yeah, walking distance. The people that are coming illegally, look, it says it, they're illegal. They've broken the law when they set foot on our shores. They've broken our laws. So at that point they should then be detained and processed as criminals. But I don't believe they are. I believe they're being sent to hotels, being given money and free rein to just wander freely throughout the community.
He can apply for parole in just 8 years. If he comes out and he's not deported and he's going to be living here, what do you plan to do?
I plan on leaving the country within 7 years.
You just want to be away from him?
Yeah, I don't want to be out in the same.
Do you think he should be deported?
Yeah.
She's changed. Our relationship has changed. I don't think it'll ever be the same.
How is it changed?
We were quite close. We'd talk quite a lot. I was always there to support her and help her and guide her. But now, I can message her and I can go maybe a week or 2 weeks before she'd respond to that message.
Okay.
We'd play games. We don't play games anymore. I'll call and she won't answer. It's a lot more distant.
How do you feel as a parent when someone leaves the house?
Awful. It's really tough. So she does have a job. She does go to work part-time. And she does have to work from where she's living to this job. And she can be working home later at night now. It's not, we've got to find my friends so I can see where she is and when she's leaving. And I have to stop looking at it because if I try and get an early lunch, I've got to be up really early at work. And I find my friends and I can see that she's still at work. I'll then stay up and I'll follow her all the way home. It's heartbreaking because then you'll see the clock stop and straight away your mind goes to the actual work.
Is this an isolated case? Or is this just one migrant in one city who's been housed and fed and paid for by the British public who's decided to rape an English woman? Or is this happening widespread across the country on migrants and street hotels? Here, maybe this is why people are angry. Maybe, and let's just have a little challenge here. Let's go on the internet and search a couple of cities. I could pick any city in the UK and search migrant, refugee, rape, and bring up cases. We simply don't have time to go through every rape of a migrant in every hotel for this document. But can you understand why people are angry? It's not the migrants in the hotel, just refugees and asylum seekers are literally raping in every single town and city across the UK. Here, maybe these are the reasons the British public are angry. Now, the media told you the people in Hartlepool were far right for protests in the hotel. What they don't discuss is the fact that one of the migrants in the hotel left the hotel, committed an act of terrorism, murdered a 70-year-old British grandfather. His family will be angry. The community will be angry. Maybe the people in Bournemouth are angry because an asylum seeker come into our country, lied, like they all do, said he was 14 years old. What checks did you do on him? You put him straight in school with our daughters. So people in Bournemouth might be angry because their daughters were put in school with an adult who pretended he was a child. He went on to sexually harass children, chase people with knives, and later he murdered a 21-year-old in Bournemouth city centre. A Royal Marine was brutally murdered by this asylum seeker. Then the Home Office do their checks. Then we find out he wasn't 14, he was 19. He was a fully grown adult male. You put him in school with children. Then we find out, on his way to Great Britain, he murdered 2 people with an AK-47 in Serbia. That's right, a cold-blooded killer with no checks, with no vetting, was put in school with parents in Bournemouth. People in Bournemouth are not angry because they're far right or they're racist. It's justified anger because you're failing them time and time again. It's a reality. This is justified anger because of government failures. But they cover it all up. They don't want to talk about their failures. Just blame it on the imaginary far right. No Keir Starmer, no the establishment, no the media, no the government. Every part of this is your fault. It's your failures. You've brought these people into our towns and cities. You've endangered our families. That's why the British public are angry. Look at this. Of course, any statistician will tell you correlation doesn't mean causation. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Let's have a look at the statistics for Sweden, since they opened their borders with rape as well. Literally, the graphs look identical for any country with open border mass migration, Islamic immigration, and rape. Remember, there's 1.7 million unemployed and economically inactive migrants here right now. Costing £8.5 billion a year. Anyone out there working right now, you're paying that in your taxes. He says nothing and does nothing about radical Muslim preachers.
How about the one who commits adultery sin? What about the one who rapes a child? What about the one who drinks alcohol? Good or bad? This person, one person that commits all of these sins, he commits all of these sins on a daily basis, but he prays is better in the eyes of the Lord than the one that doesn't commit any of these sins but doesn't pray.
Hey, free. If you accept it, then you're part of it. You don't accept it, but you have to dismantle it.
He said, "O tribes of Kufar, O tribes of disbelievers, get out of his way, for we have come to strike you a bad revelation, a strike that removes the head from the shoulders." Allah says, we will strike terror into the hearts of the Kufar. We will strike terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. Alright? Because they get something positive from Allah. If you get something positive from Allah, that's for which Allah never needs them no authority.
You got your democracy, we got our Sharia. You got your free mixing, we got our own nigga. No, we got our own economic system. We got our own foreign policy. We got our own deen.
So how can we be banned? Drums will be banned, the will be banned, gambling will be banned, but the money say the Queen, then we don't want to keep that.
La ilaha illallah! La ilaha illallah!
He says and does absolutely nothing about knife crime on our streets. He says nothing and does nothing about Islamic terrorism, jihad, Islamic courts, female genital mutilation, misogyny. He can't tell you what a woman is. He kneels for Black Lives Matter. I could go on and on. But he can dispense summary justice for anyone who disagrees with him. Remember how they hate scrutiny? They can't allow their agendas and failures to be exposed. Make a dissent in tweet, go to jail. Go directly to jail. Enter the UK illegally, come on in. How's your trick? Have a 5-star hotel. And now listen to this.
Both got put away for the riots, both been put in the same prison, both been put in the same cell. In the last 48 hours, the wing that they put them on was 90% Muslim. Both of them, one's been attacked in the examples of them. They're making targets of the lads. They did some damage to them as well.
That's right. Tutik here is putting the unhelpfully outspoken citizens in prisons run by Islamic gangs. He's literally offering them up. Any concerned parents, any concerned British citizens, he put a target on them, calling them far-right EDL racists, and now they're getting hurt in prisons up and down the country.
Somebody who knows about these things told me that any right-wing, far-right protester landing up in jail, they can expect a pretty cold reception from what he says are Asian gangs inside prison who will be looking out for them.
Keir told everyone they're far-right extremists. Their blood is on your cowardly hands, Keir. You disgust me. You disgust Britain. Now, every tyrant knows they can process people more quickly without dropping the facade. If these irritating political dissonance, if they just plead guilty, so they pressurise them. People who have never been in trouble with the law before, and who shouldn't be before the law now. They shouldn't even been in court. They frighten these people into pleading guilty. It's easy for you, they say. Just plead guilty. It's easy for your family. Just say you did it.
His solicitor obviously stood up and said, what do you have on him? Do you know what I mean? He hasn't done anything wrong, but the judge, he just didn't want to hear it. He was just shaking his head.
Obviously, some people have now been sentenced. Your partner Lee is one of them. What do you think to the actual sentence?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. 3 years, 4 months. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And what is it that he's actually being accused of?
He's being charged with violent disorder.
Did he plead guilty or not guilty?
He had to plead guilty, got told.
Who told him that?
The solicitors and his barrister. And then when he was in the custody, the police said that we'll have social services at our door and stuff.
For his best interest, it will be to plead guilty to the violent disorder, because if he didn't, the starting time was 5 years and he would have no time taken off for his guilty plea. So obviously Jack's fault. I'm already missing out on my daughter's Christmas, our birthday, everything. So he put his guilty plea in.
They'll try to persuade you to plead guilty because then you get a reduced prison sentence. Your conviction will be downgraded. Then the headlines will say, oh, look, all these people who pleaded guilty, they must be guilty. And that's not why you pleaded guilty. You pled guilty in order to avoid a mental sentence.
Well, it scared everyone. I mean, nobody wanted to even go out now because the sentences these men have been given. I don't agree with the riots, the smashing the place up and everything else, but I do agree with free speech and you should be able to protest on the streets.
It's just like the post office scandal all over again. Plead guilty and it'll be easier for you. Innocent people suffering. These people are heroes. These people have sacrificed everything. These people are an example to each and every one of us. Actually, we have more than one problem. Our first problem is we're led by tyrants. People whose allegiance is to the World Economic Forum, not the British people. People who are vain and deluded enough to believe that they, and only they, the elite, they can create a global utopia. With them in charge, of course. The World Economic Forum has already published their plans.
Global reset is necessary because we have seen that our policies which we pursued before the coronavirus crisis, so those policies do not create the necessary inclusion of society, necessary for harmonious societal development.
We are led by people who don't believe in borders, people who don't believe in nations, people who don't believe in freedom. These are people who are full of lust for power, people who are rapidly dismantling the cultural inheritance with which we were all blessed. Freedom, equality under the law, Magna Carta and democracy. These are people who want you to be dependent on the state so they can control you. We are led by globalists, totalitarians and communists. This is the main problem. These tyrants are also cowards. They're driven by fear. They fear so many things. Being exposed, losing power, the truth, Islam. And they fear we, the people. They are bewildered and frightened. And like any cornered animal that makes them dangerous, they lash out at their own citizens, vulnerable individuals. They're busy arresting children, but they won't confront Islam. They may be too frightened of what might happen if they do. Or maybe they don't know what to do about Islam. Or perhaps they don't care that Islam is incompatible with our way of life, because these communists care little for our way of life. Regardless, for now, they cower before Islam. They leave unchallenged the masked armed gangs, the mobs, the militias that wreak havoc on the streets, because chaos serves their purpose. It gives them a reason to act against dissent, and the dissent for now is from the British people, tweeting about the government's things. And right now, of course, our nation is crumbling under the weight of mass migration, legal and illegal. So many men from countries and cultures that will not assimilate, cultures that teach their children to hate the West. It's out of control, and it serves the purposes of the globalists and totalitarians, Keir and his apparatchik communists. Mass migration is part of that. To the people of the United Kingdom, I'm afraid the picture is clear. Our country is in peril. We are led by tyrants and cowards. Our borders are closed. The government is imprisoning political opponents. That's right. We now have political prisoners. Ordinary, law-abiding people imprisoned for their views. Let that sink in. We all need to understand the freedoms our forefathers fought for, the cultural inheritance with which we were blessed. Neither of these things, our freedom nor our culture, neither is guaranteed. We are only ever one generation away from tyranny. We have never had to live under a fascist or communist regime. That isn't luck. People fought and died to preserve our freedoms. Yet Tooting Keir, his sergeant police and his political judges with their kangaroo courts and summary justice, their failure to apply the law when it suits them, they are trampling on the Magna Carta, that document that shackles the power of authority, that shields all free-born men and women against tyrants and dictators. As Thomas Fairfax declared, holding up the Magna Carta back in the 17th century, this is what we have fought for, and by God, it must be maintained. The principle that lies at the heart of the Magna Carta is that the powers that be, they must obey the law, they must apply it without fear or favour. Including the members of the government, are subject to and equal before the law. Keir Starmer, you and your political bureau, your student union bow of tyrants and cowards, you have failed more quickly than anyone could have predicted.
You think we are freedom of speech? No, 100% no. And I think that case just shows that we do not have freedom of speech in this country anymore. You can't say what you want anymore.
No, that's gone. I thought we might have had a little bit, but we haven't. There's no such thing anymore.
We haven't got freedom of speech. You've got to be really careful what you say to anyone in the field.
The UK is no longer a free nation. If you do not have democratic options to express your disagreement with the government, that country is no longer a democracy.
Process is the punishment, and it will silence millions. And when we are silent, that is the end of free speech. And many people still believe that if they allow the government to micromanage their lives and be their single source of truth, then things will be okay. Until one day they don't agree with the government, and they find it isn't okay because they can't speak of it. Without free speech, there is no democracy. And without democracy, there really is only tyranny.
We are free-born English men and women. Your tyranny will fail. Sacrifices have to be made. The courageous political prisoners already know that. Men sitting in jail right now, they know that. And this government will be held to account more quickly than they expect. The tyranny we are seeing now, it's been years in the making. Blair, Cameron, May, Johnson, Sunak, and now Starmer. They're all subjects of the World Economic Masters and its totalitarian agenda. Years and years of small steps, controlling your speech, importing hell, taking your freedoms. So, the hour is upon us. The time is now. Each one of us must take a stand. We must build communities of resistance. We must organise politically. Conservative Labour, Lib Dems. We must drive every globalist from power. We must reclaim our nation.
This is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen, I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next,
then you will be told you can't complain. Watch out for these symptoms. They're the symptoms of surrender. Resist it while you can.
We must resist while we still can.
You stay there preaching, taking us for fools. One more boat, wash up, you focus on the fuel. The other distraction, don't need to end. For the invasion of our ancestral lands. They are all fleeing from war. Most of them are fighting hatred. What do you think they're coming for? Shame on you! We're not far, shame on you. Tell the truth, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Taking you design the streets, take my morality. While you take the side of every minority, you brand the British people, indigenous to this land. As far as racist foods, why can't you understand? They are all refugees, they are all fleeing from war. Most of them are fighting hatred, what do you think they're coming for? Shame on you, shame on you, running far, shame on you. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. What did you think of that? Well, let's get some energy back in this house. Are we going to make sure our women and children are safe? Are we going to let the tyrannical government silence us? And are we going to let the mainstream media divide us? Absolutely not. Ladies and gents, Ezra Levant.
Thanks. Great to see everybody. If I had to sum up British law in 2 words, it would be the Latin phrase stare decisis, which means let the precedent stand. Another way of saying that is what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Another way of saying that is you have to have one standard of justice, not 2 standards of justice. And what I've seen in the United Kingdom is not the UK I learned about in law school in Canada. When we studied the law, when we looked at the roots of it, the rule of law, we looked at the British cases, and it meant that no one was above the law. No one was too powerful or too fancy to be held to account, but it also meant no one was beneath the law. And I believe that that second part is a problem in the United Kingdom today. Look at the treatment of thousands of young girls in this country, like in Rotherham. They were beneath the law. The law didn't give a damn about them because they were indigenous, white British women, and that's just too politically incorrect. Look at how this event is being policed today. Riot police with their riot gear. I saw one cop filming everyone's face. He told me it wasn't for facial recognition. I was in London for the 100,000 person pro-Hamas march, where they chanted their intifada, that's a violent riot against the Jews, where they called for genocide. No riot police nearby there. No one filming the faces there. And I'm worried that the United Kingdom's core character of the rule of law is falling apart. And the fact that they are trying to intimidate you and not have you gather is part of that. Tommy Robinson was arrested last night under the Terrorism Act, a version of the American Patriot Act, because he wouldn't give them the cell phone password to get into his phone. That's a law for terrorists, not for journalists. Do you think they have applied that law to the organizers of the pro-Hamas rallies in this city week after week? They did not. The police were not even visible in those rallies. They were hidden away. That's why they gave offense. I think it's incredibly important that you say and not just for yourselves, but for the great legacy that you have inherited from generations that came before you. So many lives were lost over so many centuries to bring the legal system that everyone could trust and love. And let me close with one last point before I give the microphone back. There are some people who would drive Tommy Robinson out of the establishment, out of the mainstream, who would ban him from having rallies. But Tommy Robinson, in my view, is necessary to keep hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people involved in the system. If he is kept out, people will give up on the system. They'll give up on the freedom. Keep standing for freedom. Keep fighting for freedom. Thank you, everybody.
Here's something you'll all be interested in. So, behind the scenes, Urban Scoop has been talking to Tommy today from jail. And what Tommy has said is that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, be prepared for a peaceful protest outside whatever jail he's in, which will probably be Belmarsh. I'm up for that, are you? And now we're going to have a few words from a man of God, Canon Philip Harris.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can I cause chaos for a couple of moments? Given the significance of today, I want you to look to a person to your left or to your right, or in front or behind, and get their attention and say, my name is, and give them your name, and I am from, and tell them where you're from, and make this statement to them. It is good to stand with you today. Would you do that in the next 30 seconds, just very quickly? Make sure that you've spoken to somebody, introduce yourself. Stand with. And by the end of these few words, I hope that I too am your friend. And so can I ask you to work with me for the next few moments. Today is a wonderful event. It's for the good people of this fair and pleasant land to meet, to say that we love our nation, and that is why we are here. You can do better than that. We love our nation. We do not love, however, what is being done to this nation by those that we have entrusted with power. And the actions of yesterday have only sought to galvanise people's feelings. The reason why I'm here today, and there's one reason, and that is because you are here. That's the reason I'm here, it's because you are here. There are all kinds of people all over this gathering this afternoon who are hurting, who are frustrated, who are angry, who are confused, who feel let down. And in the case of the family of Peter Lynch and others, are bereaved. It was always the way in times past that where people were hurting, that they were frustrated or angry or confused or let down or bereaved or in need of help, that they would
And that is why I'm here today. I'm here for every single one of you. And that's why I accepted the invite. I'm here for those like Peter, whose lives have been ripped from us prematurely. And so may the souls of the faithful departed through the mercy of God rest in peace. However, as a priest in God's church, I feel that I need to do a couple of things before I hand the microphone back. I feel firstly that it is necessary for me to apologise to you for what the church has often done to you and how the church has let you down. And for that I am sorry. I need to apologise for the church's involvement in scandals, where evil people, like in other institutions, have been able to infiltrate her ranks. The church should be better, and I am sorry. The church is meant to be the hands and feet of Jesus. I'm therefore sorry for where the church has failed to and not stood up for the nation and spoken into the nation in the way that we have deserved. I'm sorry that the church has not protected the heritage of this nation and instead has gone after other agendas instead of the message of Jesus. And it's caused division and it's caused hurt, and it's meant that the church has not been with the people. It has not called out hypocrisy or wrong. It has not warned of the perils of turning away from the principles that this nation was founded on Judeo-Christian values. It's 2024. That's 2024 years since the birth of Christ. It's 7 days because on the 7th day God rested. And 7 days is the only cycle that works. A few metres away in the Houses of Parliament, in the central lobby, there is an inscription on the floor. And it says, unless the Lord builds a house, those that labour do so in vain. And so I just want to say today, if you are a cultural Christian, hold to those values. Better still be inspired to find the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who is weeping over this nation now. My name is Canon Phil Harris. I'm from Old Hill in the West Midlands, and it's really good to stand with you, every single one of you, today. Thank you.
Big massive round of applause for Pastor Phil, and I think if every pastor or priest or father in the church was like him, the church will be full. Find out where he worships, go to his church and follow Pastor Phil on Twitter. Now we've got Russ, the Don. He's going to give you a treat. We're going to get some fantastic music. Let's hear it for Russ the Don. He's going to sing a song called Save Me.
It's working. just like many of you. So, Tommy, if he gets to watch this or he's watching this right now, it's a shame he can't be here. The only thing that's separating us from him is that dangerous man, Keir Starmer. Terrible. It is terrible. A 20 million black hole. If you stop sending money to Ukraine and foreign climate aid, maybe you can help out our nation. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, enough of that. I've got a song here called Sailors. I think you might like it. Okay. Too far left, or sorry. I should be over there. Anyway. Yeah, sorry. Okay, we'll go again. Look at you. It's a big voice.
an editor, I was once the director of the United Kingdom Society of Editors. I have been in front of judges for contempt and libel even more than Tommy. As such, it puts me in a good position to explain to you today what I believe he's just been put through. And I would not have been here today if Tommy had not been dragged off the streets and walked up yesterday. In my 46 years as a journalist, I've seen some grievous and egregious injustices carried out, but never have I seen two worse than the ones I'm just going to outline for you very briefly. In 2018, Tommy was dragged off the streets of Leeds by a judge called Jeffrey Marson. He was locked up for weeks on end on a contempt of court charge that I can tell you now was not contempt of court. Indeed, if you remember the case, it was thrown out and Tommy was free. Such was the state of the British establishment that the Attorney General was instructed to go back and find something to get Tommy Robinson back in court on, and they did. I sat in the Old Bailey in 2019 and I watched Dame Victoria Sharp tear up the 1981 Contempt of Court Act and rewrite it specifically to put our friend in jail. That was unheralded in the history of my 46 years as a journalist and an editor. I thought it couldn't get worse than that, but it did. In 2021, you'll remember that Tommy was in court for libel. He was bankrupt, he didn't have a lawyer. The judge in that case, Sir Matthew Nickley, appointed me as what is called a Mackenzie friend. I sat by Tommy's side through that entire trial, helping him prepare his case, his defence, all the court documentation. And I thought I'd seen it all at the Old Bailey when they locked Tommy up. I hadn't seen it all. In that 2-week trial, a young man from Huddersfield came on the first morning, gave a sullen, sulky 40 minutes of evidence and then disappeared for the rest of the trial. He did not face his accusers. That court, Sir Matthew Nickley, heard from parents, teachers, a head teacher, social workers, Kirklees Council documentation about the character of that young man, Jamal Hijazi. At the end of it, 5 young people from Huddersfield came and gave evidence. 5 courageous young people. And after 3 months, Justice Matthew Nickley was prepared to call us all back into court for his verdict. But he didn't. And the reason he didn't was because he was ashamed to face those children. And he found Tommy Robinson guilty, and he said of each one of those 5 children and those 7 teachers and parents that every single one of them lied. That's on the record, it's in the public record. He called every one of them a liar. And when he justified it in finding Tommy guilty, he said this: why did people lie? Who knows? People sometimes just lie. And with that, it destroyed Tommy's livelihood, it destroyed my faith in British justice, and it committed what, to me, was the biggest single injustice I've ever witnessed in my 46 years as a journalist. Tommy Robinson is a good man. I'm an ordinary journalist. Tommy Robinson, I can tell you, is an extraordinary journalist, a good man, a good patriot, and for one mainstream media journalist, I salute you, Tommy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for Danny Lockwood. I just want to have a look around at this space that we're all inhabiting at the moment. There's still tens of thousands of people in Parliament Square and in Parliament Street. That's a testament to the patriotism of everybody that's standing here. Give yourselves a massive round of applause.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It never gets old seeing such huge crowds. We haven't got very much good news recently, though, do we? Stephen Yaxley, as he like to call me, Tommy Robinson's leader, has of course been the police. As, just to be clear, I'm going to quote some notes, otherwise that's fake news. He was charged with 1 count of failing to provide his PIN to his mobile phone under the Terrorism Act, which is just unbelievable. There's no evidence, of course, no reasonable man would suggest that Tommy Robinson is a terrorist. This is outrageous, but that's not what they're holding him. They're holding him to court. And every act that the state makes is a choice. There is a will behind it, a person in charge of it. And I think you can quite easily compare it to some of the other choices that the state makes. For example, Keir Starmer decided to release thousands of prisoners as soon as he came into power. One of them he released 2 days ago, a man called Isaac Domko, who is otherwise known as Young Diz, a gang member and drill rapper who was imprisoned in 2019 for enlisting 4 other men to kidnap, torture and ransom a 16-year-old boy. He served 5 years of his sentence and Keir Starmer decided he should be back on the streets. The detective inspector at the time, according to the Telegraph, said, quote, I believe that removing Domko from the streets at Newham has done a great deal to reduce serious violence in the borough. And I believe him. He was released early by Keir Starmer because he is not a threat to Keir Starmer's insane plan for this country. Peter Lynch was a threat to Starmer's plan, to the current ruling order. Peter Lynch was, of course, before his suicide, in prison, a grandfather who took part in the Southport riots. He was jailed for 2 years and 8 months for, as Sky News tell us, shouting racist and provocative remarks at police officers. He called the silencing of child killers, and he was still calling the police scum, and had a placard calling globalist organisations and politicians corrupt. The level of harm involved in each of these cases is self-evidently different and speaks very clearly to the two-tier nature of Britain. This is what it is like to have state power ranged against you. This is what it is like to know that your government serves something other than the people of the country. You will receive no grace from how the state is constituted at the moment. In fact, they openly despise you and they will tell you so. Notice how swiftly Keir Starmer politicised the Southport riots. The very first day, far right. The next day, racist. What are those words? What do they mean? These are exclusionary words. These are words designed to put you into the second category, to show that you do not enjoy the same rights as everyone else. That's what they're doing. So what kind of country does this create? Well, an oppressive one, an unfair one, but also a decaying one. A third world one, where politicians take their gifts and their rights while the rest of the people are impoverished. The creeping socialist government that began after the war is finding its final realization over the summer. For the first time since the Black Death, England is becoming poorer. We are being slowly but surely eviscerated by design. If democracy can be defined as people getting what they voted for, then we have been in democracy for quite some time. We've been voting against mass immigration for decades. We've been voting against tax increases for decades. We've been voting against increases in the Ministry of State for decades. And yet, now we're saddled with the most unpopular Labour government in history with an Britain. We have 15 million more people who have this demand. Do you think fewer or more problems have this difference? There's your when is this happening? When will there be enough? There is a lot that will never fill because they're going to provide national services on an international scale. It can never end. We do not have enough money. And they're going to continue trying to micromanage every aspect of our lives. When will the end of this? Ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you with this. All of these chances basically agree with this. We have to use our vote. The power of selection is still with us. We must choose different parties. We must have it in our minds that it is unthinkable, ever to vote for a blue, red, or yellow rosette ever again. And I'm sorry I didn't mention really voting now. You know, this is the only way out of this. We must commit to parties that are for the people rather than for some external value. Because they will turn out if they're going to be NHS into an idol. It will be more than open, and you will be strictly into its meetings when it is set up to serve you. Thank you very much.
I just want you to look on the screen. If everybody could just look on the screen, what do you see on the screen? Years ago, when the Beatles played massive stadiums, women came forward, and dare I say it, threw their knickers at the stage. Well, there's a pair of knickers in the audience that sums up the Labour Party. Labour are hats! A good friend of mine, he's come all the way from the United States of America. He's Tommy Robinson's best friend in the United States of America. He's an absolute legend. He's a massive Trump supporter. He's a fantastic speaker. Give it up for Donkey! Woo! Everyone say woo! Hello, England! For those of you who don't know who my name is, Don Keys, and I got to tell you, if Keir Starmer thought he was going to put a damper on this event by putting England's greatest voice in lockup, he had another thing coming. Everybody say, Keir Starmer can kiss my ass. So I've told this story a couple of times, but I want to say it because I've never said it to 100,000 people before. You know, great heroes come along maybe once in a generation if you're lucky. You got your Winston Churchills, you got your William Wallaces in the United States, you have people like Martin Luther King. You know, they don't come around a lot. Now in America, we have one this generation. We got lucky. We have a guy named Donald Trump. Maybe you've heard his name before. But here you got another guy who I call the working class Donald Trump of Great Britain. His name is Tommy Robinson. So the way I see it, you know, I see online a lot of people say, well, I can't wait to get out of here. I'm going to go to America. I'm going to go somewhere else. We all have to stay and fight for our countries. Because if we don't, at some point, there's not going to be anywhere to run to. So we have a choice to make. You guys have a choice to make. Years from now, generations from now, you can sit around a fire, scrap up whatever little bit of food you can find, and you can reminisce with your grandchildren about what a great free country Great Britain used to be. Or you can tell them that today England is still free because you fought with people like Tommy Robinson and the great patriots that are here today, and the people who are on this stage today. It's going to be you people who save this nation, mark my word. Now I've got something I want to read to you. Tommy asked me to read this to you guys. You know, I was with him yesterday.
I felt honored to be one of the ones he asked to escort him to the police station yesterday. But he asked me to read this, and I'm not going to let him down. It's a poem I wrote. And I wrote it as it pertains to America, but it can go to any Western country right now. You can apply it to yourselves. And I guess I'd like to ask you guys, how many of you have ever been online or even out in public and someone called you a racist or a white supremacist simply because you espouse your personal conservative beliefs? Show of hands, who's ever been called a racist on social media? Yeah, a lot of you out here. So I wrote this for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. It's a poem. It's called The Liberty Thief. If I were a racist, I'd come up with a plan. I'd give them just enough money so they wouldn't need a man. The father rebuked, but the mother will miss him when all of her sons are raised by the system. And what would I call this act of piety? I know, I'll call it the Great Society. No need for family. I'll take God out of schools. You can worship the government, just obey all the rules. But to be a great racist, I need to find a way to decrease the numbers of black, brown, and, hey, abortion. But with a little more stealth, I'll fool the whole world and call it women's health. But still some will be born, so we'll need to confuse them. We can turn men into women and women into men. I think that'll do it. That'll do the trick, but still there will be others. We'll need to make them sick with food or drugs. Well, surely in time, we could also infest their neighborhoods with crime. And the people will love me, no matter what the fuss is, because I'll do all of these things and call it justice. Now, this plan will cost money. I'll impose more tax on the people who already break their backs. Who cares? They can nickel and dime it and get this. I'll blame it all on the climate. No more comfort, no more convenience, no more oil, no gasoline. It's going to be amazing. This is a hell of a plan. Why even worry about the color of a man? Black, white, gay, or straight? For total control, I need to stir up hate and divide every single person by their simple beliefs. They might even call me the liberty thief, because I'll take all their freedoms, and it'll be tough, I confess. How will I do it? I'll use the press. They'll spread the word and the propaganda for years, until one day a new virus appears. That's when the PCs really hits the fan blades, because I'll have forced vaccines and mask mandates. I can shut down schools and control elections, stuff all the ballots, section by section. And poverty will replace the American dream while the oligarch siphons the war machine. But if I'm really going to do this, if I'm really going to own it, I need to get rid of my political opponents. I can twist the laws and accuse them of crimes. It shouldn't be too hard. The judges are mine. Not to mention the prosecution. This is how it's done, man. Screw the Constitution. But for my masterpiece and my greatest iteration, I'll replace every patriot with illegal immigration. So that's it. That's how I'll do it. And with the competition gone, I'll be a shoo-in. So a racist and a tyrant, well, don't call me that. I need to be discreet. Call me a Democrat. Thank you very much for having me. I love you guys. God bless Tommy Robinson.
Right, we're going to watch a very, very short video, and then we're going to have our guests from France. Give a massive round of applause to these ladies that have come all the way from France. They're fighting against what's going on, the oppression of women in France by migrant communities. Give a massive round of applause for them. We're going to watch a video, then we're going to bring them on to talk. Thank you very much.
mettez un voile, vous serez plus jeune.
Non, c'est un... Tout de suite, ça fait votre femme, je crois que vous, au contraire, à parler de violence conjugale, une femme, vous avez été plus dans le précédent. Si le séparatiste-là, elle vous islam, parce qu'il y a un problème aujourd'hui avec les musulmans en France, d'accord?
Hi, my name is Melissa, I'm 27 and I'm from Nantes in France. I am an activist and spokesperson for the Nemesis Collective. First, we would like to thank Tommy Robinson and the event organizers for inviting us. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to speak. The Nemesis Collective was created 5 years ago by 7 young women who were tired of mainstream feminism. This feminism is hypocritical. They pretend different women, but they refuse to talking about certain aggressors. If no one talks about the real dangers for women, then we will. We talk about all forms of violence against women, regardless of the aggressor. But we do notice a recurring pattern in immigrant representation among these aggressors. We fight against the growing insecurity, judicial laxity, and against regressive and patriarchal cultures brought in France by immigration. Immigration is a big problem and we are not afraid to say it. We do impactful actions to wake people up and to make politicians take responsibility. Because of this, we are called racist, but we speak the truth, and we in fact show that we are right. Today, we are 150 activists in France, Belgium, and Switzerland, fighting to make the truth heard. Hello, my name is Yona Faida. I am 20 years old, and I am a spokesperson for the Nemesis Collective. I decided to take action because I didn't want to stay inactive while women in France face insecurity. About a year ago, you may have seen the Days magazine cover. It featured 3 French Muslim women wearing abayas in the color of the French flag. But you may have also seen our response. Along with 2 friends, we created our own version. We posed just like the woman in the original cover, but wearing blue, white and red dresses instead of abayas. I wore a dress that was a bit shorter to show a sense of freedom that the woman on the original cover didn't seem to have. This was important to us because France is a secular country and French women are free. Our flag should not be represented by clothing that symbolizes women's submission. On April 9, I was placed on police custody for 8 hours for holding a sign that said, "Foreign rapists out." It's hard to understand why I was treated like a criminal for simply pointing out a tragic reality. How can anyone be prosecuted for trying to warn people about these dangers? Why does our system punish those who speak out instead of focusing on the real safety problem? It's unfair. At Nemesis, we will not stay silent. Our goal is clear. We must remind everyone that women's safety comes first. We have one simple message. Free us from immigration. Thank you.
Hello, Great Britain. My name is Anaïs and I am also a spokesperson from Collective Nemesis. It's a great pleasure to be here, but I must tell you, English is not my mother tongue. Please be kind if I make any mistake in your beautiful language. I've always been fascinated by the history of England, the architecture, the literature, churches, museums, etc. So in 2012, I came here to study English. I fell in love with your city. But that passion was suddenly destroyed one night at the exit of Edgware Road Station on the Bakerloo line. That night, I was sexually assaulted by 3 men of Pakistani origin. They were looking while attacking me, as my view was a kind of joke or game. They wanted to control my frozen body. But by some miracle, a man entered, pushed them away, and saved me right before they raped me. Thank you. Who knows what they could have done? Without him, I might not even be here today to share my story. In short, I returned to France the next day, thinking being with my family will be enough. What a mistake. Do you know that 63% of sexual violence offenders in public transport in Paris are from foreigners? I'm tired of seeing our daughters, our mothers, and our sisters raped, attacked, and murdered. We refuse to turn a blind eye to reality, to be silent. This must stop. Immigration is killing the French people, the British people, European and West. Ladies and gentlemen, moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas, we need you. It's now or never. I ask you to rise up and stop being spectators to the destruction of our own people. Your daughter, your son, our civilization needs you. Join us. Together, let's raise our voices to defend the rights, safety and freedom of European women. Let this movement cross borders and close them to those who do not respect our values. One of the solutions I'm proposing today is to start a Nemesis branch here in London. Join us, come speak to us, follow us on social media, and together, let's expose what English women are also going through. Let's defend our civilization together. Thank you, Great Britain. And never forget, France loves you.
Hi, I'm Alice. I'm 27 years old and I'm from Nantes, a city in western France. My city has been governed for the past 10 years by a left-wing mayor and a so-called feminist mayor. Feminism is about naming streets after women. That's not feminism. Even less when security is neglected. Assaults and harassments are skyrocketing. Numbers are alarming. Women like me feel forced to take extra precautions when going out. We're carrying pepper spray, avoiding public transport at night, and sharing locations with friends every day. The mayor's only response to tackling insecurity has been to put surveillance cameras, but it only feels like a small band-aid on a gaping wound. Meanwhile, drug trafficking and drug-related crimes have taken root in the very heart of the city. The prosecutor of Nantes has even stated that many of the offenders who are involved in serious crimes come from Africa, and they show little interest in integrating. This isn't just my story, it's Europe's story. It's our story. This is the reality for every woman in major city in Europe. Is this really the Europe we want to keep living in and pass on to future generations? We are all here today because we understand how important it is to stand up against the people in power who are imposing on us immigration and silence. Thank you, London!
Wow, some amazing stories and amazing testimonies there. And this is the fight that we're in. It's not just the fight for our country, it's the fight for our women. And every single man in this crowd should be ready to fight and die for their women, for their daughters, their wives, their girlfriends. And that's what true feminism is all about. I want to ask a question. How many people in this crowd support reform? Put your hands up if you support reform. How many people? It's gone down since the last demo. How many people in this crowd support Tommy Robinson? There you have it, Nigel. Well, the reality is the next speaker, Mr. Richard Shaw, found out you can't do both. He stood for Tommy Robinson, he lost his position in reform, he stood on principle, and he stood for what was right. Give it up for Richard Shaw.
Hello. Well, I don't think you lot are as nervous as I am. I've never seen this many people before. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you. Now, before the election, when I stood for reform, I thought Tommy Robinson was a racist, because that's what the media had told me. And people were asking me during the election, do you support Tommy Robinson? No, I don't support racism. Because he's not a racist. So anyway, I looked into it after the election, and guess what? He's not a racist, obviously. So, I did a video, and I apologised to Tommy, and I put it on Twitter. I never actually thought he'd see it, but he did, and he shared it. And what did Reform do? They kicked me out of the party. Yeah? They removed me from my position as spokesperson for Stourbridge. Because I have the audacity to apologise to Tommy. Now, I don't know about you, but I stand up for the truth. And Reform, they said they stood up for the truth. That was what they ran on. That was their whole principle, was that they were going to do politics differently. Hello? They were going to do politics differently. But they don't. Reform UK are just like the others. They're just the Conservatives with different branding. So, who are you going to support at the next election? I know who I'm going to support. Who here is going to support UKIP? Brilliant. That's what I like to hear. Now, later on, I know Nick is going to be speaking, Nick Connie from UKIP. And I just want to give him my unconditional support and say that what he's planning on doing with UKIP and what he wants to do with this country, I agree with completely. It is time to stop the votes. It is time to stop illegal immigration. This is not about race, this is about culture, this is about the survival of our nation. So, I'm going to ask you one more time, who's going to vote UKIP? Thank you, everybody. Let's do this, let's save our nation. Thank you, Tommy. Free Tommy Robinson! Tommy Robinson! Brilliant.
Yes, London! So, I've been watching videos on my phone of the other protests that are going on around London. They don't seem very happy, they don't seem very kind, they don't seem very peaceful, and they're all wearing face masks. Now, I'm looking around at you lovely people, I can't see any hostility or aggravation, and I can't see any face masks. Did you know why? Because you're all proud to be here and you're all proud of yourselves. Come on! Come on! And next we have, and excuse the pronunciation if I get it wrong, my French ain't that good. But next up is Eric Moss. I can't even pronounce it, sorry mate. Eric Mauvissois. LBB.
Thank you, beau voisin. Hello, patriots. Hello, my friends. Hello, dissidents. Hello, fighters. Hello, British people. Sorry, I'm French, so I speak now French. J'ai fait le voyage depuis ma Vendée en France, où nous menons le même combat que vous. En Vendée, en France, comme dans toute l'Europe, tous nos problèmes sont aggravés par l'immigration. À l'école, le logement, le chômage, le vivre ensemble, les déficits sociaux et l'ordre public. Quand les gouvernements importent des migrants musulmans en masse, eh bien vous vous retrouvez avec l'islam, les mosquées, les burkinis, le halal et la charia. Les enfants anglais comme les enfants français peuvent être à la merci de criminels barbares. La question qui se pose à vous est la suivante. Les jeunes Anglais Vont-ils accepter de vivre en minorité sur la terre de leurs ancêtres? Nous aimerions tous que nos pays redeviennent comme autrefois. L'immigration record non désirée que connaissent nos pays suscite partout des oppositions de plus en plus vives, comme ici et maintenant à Londres, ce samedi 26 octobre 2024. Notre mécontentement doit mettre la pression sur les gouvernements pour qu'ils durcissent leur politique et endiguent la vague migratoire. Nous souhaitons vivement qu'ils comprennent le message. L'Union européenne porte une grande responsabilité et l'Union européenne doit répondre rapidement à nos inquiétudes. C'est maintenant ou jamais. It's now or never. Soutenez et vive Tommy Robinson. It's now or never. Mes amis, le combat et la résistance de rue est indispensable pour faire pression, mais n'oublions pas la force démocratique des urnes. C'est le seul moyen de faire vraiment un changement des choses. Vous êtes courageux et volontaires. Bravo à vous. Nous allons gagner. C'est maintenant ou jamais. Vive la Grande-Bretagne, vive la France. Thank you.
I'm going to keep this really short today. Now, some of you may have seen an interview we've done recently with Tommy Robinson in Spain. Now, it was an emotional interview, and if I'm honest, it was an emotional weekend. Something that I want to say is that I know 100% fact that when Tommy hears the amount of people that turned out today, he is going to be so proud of every single one of you. The other thing that I want to say, as much as a terrible situation it is for Tommy right now, sitting in a cell, I can guarantee you, with how you've all turned out and how you've all behaved, he is going to be sitting there with a massive smile on his face. So every single person here, you've done Tommy proud, you've done yourself proud, but more importantly, you've done the country proud. Give yourselves a round of applause.
We have the great honour of escorting Tommy back to Britain. He didn't need to come. He did not need to come, but he did. He did because he wanted to send a message to that building there and that shithouse there. He broke down in front of me several times on the interview, but he's not a broken man, and nor should he be. He should be the most proudest man, patriot in this country today. One of the questions was this: what about Reform UK and Nigel Farage? He has stabbed us all in the back. He stabbed each and every one of you in the back. And what we thought was going to be our chance to get into power has turned out to be, yet again, another political stitch-up. I'm going to introduce you now to a man that can get us out of that mess. He's not going to buckle, he's not going to bend, and he's the next UKIP leader, Nick Tanconi. So please put your hands together and give Nick a warm, warm welcome as we do. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I have a question. Where is Nigel Farage? Why isn't he here? He isn't here because he isn't right-wing. He isn't here because he isn't radical. He isn't here because he doesn't want to associate himself with Tommy Robinson. He isn't here because he doesn't want to associate himself with you. We all know now that Nigel and Reform are playing the long game. We don't have time for political games. We are in crisis. We need action now. Where Reform stumbles and shies away from the difficult conversations, UKIP will say it as it is. Detain and deport all illegal invaders. Detain and deport all Islamists. Detain and deport all migrants who are here to colonise. Detain and deport all those who refuse to assimilate. We are shifting the Overton window. You don't shift the window by playing the long game. It is a lie. You shift the window with truth, with courage, with bravery, with fearless leadership. You shift the window by saying it as it is and calling out the evil in front of you, regardless of the consequences. That inspires, that motivates. Ladies and gentlemen, you are more powerful than you know. You are the soldiers in this battle. You are not powerless, but who is willing to stand up and fight? I am recruiting community leaders who are ready to stand and ready to fight and take their country back. I am sick of the outrage without political action. It is time, friends, time to take back control. It is time, friends, to wake up to the reality of what it is going to take to make our families and those who shed blood to once again be proud of us. It is time, friends, to pick a side. It is time to take back the control, and it is time to take back our country. The communists, the Islamists, the Marxists, the leftists, these people try to silence you by smearing you. They use their fear and propaganda tactics to shut you up. It is now clear from our grassroots to our elderly, the vast majority now endorse our policies. The problem is they have never had a political voice brave enough to say it as it is. Well, today, fear no longer controls us. We control fear. UKIP will be your political voice. Let us stand together. Let us stand up for the 40% who do not vote and who have given up. Let us give them hope. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you asking you to join me in the new right and to stand for justice. To the political liberal elite, I say this: there will be no mercy, there will be no diplomacy, and there will be no surrender. Let me make it absolutely clear to the liberal elite traitors: UKIP is coming for you, and we will have justice for your crimes against the British people. Friends, let us talk solutions. Let us rid our nation of communist parasites, of the Islamists, of the migrants who are here to colonise, and of those who refuse to assimilate. And let us deport the 5 million people who do not deserve to be here. Friends, let us offer the British people a referendum on the death penalty. With your permission, I want to transform this great patriotic movement into real political action and change. Let us rebuild Britain for our children and our children's future. Let us show the liberal establishment that we will not take any more, and we are not their slaves. Let us stand together and break free of the globalist shackles and show them that they dare not make the British people angry. To two-tier Keir, I say this: you can send your thugs to beat us. You can lock us up. You can martyr us as you have done our political prisoners. But you will never silence us. No two-tier Keir Starmer, you will bend the knee to the British people. If you lend us your vote and grant UKIP the opportunity, I will lead you, ladies and gentlemen. The new right rises, and as God is my witness, we will take our country back, and when we do, it will be for His glory. In 5 years' time, we vote our way out of this. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Well, that got the juices flowing, didn't it? And I do like a leader with a good haircut. And after a powerful political speech like that, I don't know about you, but I like a little bit of music. So let me welcome on the stage, Ross the Don.
I'm not making that mistake again. Okie dokie. So, following on from that, it's a great speech, by the way. If in doubt, kick them out. That's what I say. Anyway, this song is about our children's future. Pray for our children because we don't deserve this. Anyway. I pray for our children. They don't deserve it. Bad churches, credit and better believe when I say you gotta be blind to see what we find, how we I'm broken this time, They don't deserve even few bad men. Like burning out churches, burning churches. Never believe when I say that. I bet the response is pouring vandalizing, joking. This is what I say. I am now. They will be shipped back home by Friday. How can we spend so much money buying property? Pensioners come and keep their home. That boy sat down sad and alone, struggling with drugs in the bone. All this fuck country does is keep fucking on. Burning ashes, thank you very much. I'm Ross Dunn. Cheers, guys.
Testing. There we go. We're back. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harmer Singh.
Good evening, Britain. You are not surprised to see a brown man in this racist rally talking on the stage as per mainstream media that you are hooligans, racist, you want me out from this country. Is this right? Are you listening to Dear Care? You are wrong. They are not here to throw immigrants out. They don't want those immigrants who are not contributing, who are raping this country. So, wake up. My fellow patriots, my English is not my first language and it's broken. Broken as this Great Britain right now. But my English cannot be mended. It's not possible. But we can make Great Britain again with your help. That is doable. Tommy is fighting for everyone from last 20 years. He's given his youth, his family. He sacrificed everything. For what? Not for himself, for this country to make it great again. But what this establishment done with him? They put him in the prison again and again. Why? Because they don't want you guys to hear what is the truth. He's telling you something from last 20 years, what this country is going to face if we don't wake up. I tell you one thing, I took asylum in this country 28 years ago. I ran from Afghanistan because we were persecuted, getting killed, getting raped. And this country gave me everything. And today what I saw, every day boats of those rapists coming in here and getting accommodation from the two-tier care, money, iPhones, everything. For what? To rape you. They've done that with us, now they will do it with you. They're not letting you know who is coming on the boats. They are the dangerous people, unvetted people. Tommy tried to wake you up, but this government is trying to silence him. They don't want to let you know what danger is coming next to your door. Tommy steps in the den of the lion, even knowing that he will be prosecuted, get killed, whatever going to happen to him. But he done it for who? He done it for you. What's he going to get from going to prison? Nothing. He done everything for people of Great Britain to make Great Britain again. You need to go back to your homes. Think, what's best for the country? Who is best to run this country? You need those political parties who think about native Britons. They give preference to Britain people first, not me. I came here because I choose to came here. Nobody called me in this country. I choose, many more choose to come here for a better life. I came here, I made my word. I tried. I got a big community. But for that community today, I am a traitor. They call me a traitor. I am not traitor. This is my country and I have to give back to this country. I am loyal to this country. So every immigrant should be loyal to this country. If they want to live with the community, go fucking back. If you are in this country, your loyalty to stay with this country. This country gave us a lot, and it's time for us immigrants to pay back. Good evening, Britain, and once more, Tommy, Tommy, Tommy. Tommy Robinson, please sing for me. Again. Tommy stood for us, all of us. Now time for us is to stood for Tommy. Free Tommy. We have to raise our hands. Free Tommy. Today we can see hundreds of Tommy over here. God bless Great Britain. God bless us all. Thank you all.
Big love, my brother, big love. Okay, so as we come to the final hour or so of the day, and what a glorious day it's been, it's time for a blessing. Have we got a priest in the house? Father Philip Harris, do your magic, sir.
So look you and afford me the opportunity of declaring a blessing over you. Before I do that, if anybody is interested in an eyewitness account of Jesus, let them write of the sides here at the wings. There will be people with Gospels of John that they can actually give to you if you want to avail yourself of the good news of Jesus. Let me declare a blessing over you. Go forth in peace. Go into the world and be of good courage. Hold fast to that which is good. Render to no one evil for evil. Support the weak. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Show love to everyone. Love and serve the Lord, rejoicing in the power of His might. And the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you, remain with you, and with those whom you love, now and evermore. Amen.
Between good and evil that we are facing in our country, and we know that this side we are on is certainly the side of good. Now when Tommy spoke to us about today's event, there was one song that he specially requested, and if we listen to the lyrics of this song as we sing it, it's more relevant than ever. You can even hear the lyrics applying to Tommy right now in his situation. And we just want to honour and respect every serviceman and woman that's here today. We can clap our hands for our servicemen and women in here today. This song is 100 years old, but it's as relevant today as it ever has been. It's called I Vow Thee to My Country.
check. Yeah, I'm too short for that mic anyway. Wow! Powerful. So this is the last word from me. This is where I dish out some thank yous. Thank you to everyone that's organised this today. Thank you to the police that are standing behind us, keeping us safe from Antifa. Thank you to all the singers and the speakers. Thank you for Tommy. Thank you for Tommy. Thank you, Tommy. He has galvanised all of you here today. He has brought all of you together in harmony. Yes, he has. And have you had a good time? And thank you for coming. I just want to ask one thing. Please, for the love of God, get home to your families safe and be peaceful on your return. London, I fucking love you! Thank you! And now it's time for the lovely dancers to see us off. I'll see you on the other side.
Oh, right.
Well, you might think that that's the show over, but it's not. Does anybody want some more? Do you want another song? Do you want another song that everybody will know really, really well? Don Keith, as you all know, published a tribute to Tommy Robinson. We said to Tommy, because Tommy's a bit embarrassed by the song, to be brutally honest with you, we said to Tommy, if you go to prison, we're going to play this song as a tribute to do. Hit play, let's press the song for Tommy Robinson, and then I'll close.
So how many of you have ever been in a music video before? Hold on, can you kill it? Can you kill it? Can you kill it? So we're going to close, but this is going to be the footage. We're going to use this in the official music video, so you guys are all going to be in it, so I need you to get as involved as you possibly can. So I'm just going to kind of pantomime to the music, but we're going to all celebrate Tommy with this song right now, and then we're going to use it to make a video, okay? Everybody good? Let's do it. You guys are beautiful. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you, England. Love you.
Thank God. Give John a massive round of applause. Just want to thank everybody that's come. Thank you guys for coming. Thank Tommy and Urban Scoop for making this possible. I want to thank all the security teams. I want to thank all the stewards. I want to thank Tony and Kaz and Paul and Andy and Archie. Give them a massive round of applause. They do all the work in the background. Thank Paul for doing the sound. Who's had a good day today? There's still thousands of people here. We've been here for hours. It's been an amazing day. I want to ask you to do one thing. When you leave, I want you to all leave in the direction of Victoria Street. So that's turning round, going the way you came. I want you to go exactly the way you came. I want you to start leaving now. The show's over. It's been a brilliant day. We want everybody to disperse peacefully and in an orderly manner. I want to do it all again really soon to free Tommy Robinson.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what background do you need? This is it. It's the end of the show, end of our thing. It's done. We did it. My feet hurt. I need to get drunk. I need to have large amounts of vodka and tonic. and all
you
that.
basically say what I want to say. What would you say? You do it.
No. Guys, we're leaving. We're done. The pub beckons. It is beer o'clock. That's what it is. We're gone. I'll see you guys on the next one. Like and subscribe.
What channel are you on?
It's called Hafiz Reflex.
Keep it shut. Eli! Oh my god! Oh, what are you doing?
Drink large quantities of beer.
I'm not going to choose that mirror. If we just wait for the main... well, to be fair, there's enough room.
Oh, sorry? Hafiz, H-A-F-E-Z. Hafiz Reflex. I try to be poetic.
I'll contact them out.
Sorry, I thought you were still listening. Right then.
Well then, I'm following you, mate. I'll keep tabs on your antics. Should be good fun. Do you mostly do London, or do you just go everywhere?
Everywhere, mate.
All right, I shall keep an eye on you.
All over the country, yeah. I'll get your channel off, Ailey.
Yeah. Just yeah. If you ever come down to Speaker's Corner or come down to London, hit me up. I'm usually down with Wendell down at
Speaker's Corner sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to go there.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's all right in small doses.